Right,
Talk.
Hello, 1 2 1 2.
Hello. Yeah,
that's
perfect.
fine.
We're good.
Yeah.
Right, go on, Muchbox.
Anji Kuzi, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 5 of Food for Thought. With myself, Mr. Munchbox, and my co-host.
Hungry Hass.
Today's special guest is Imam Asim. I don't really need to introduce him. Obviously, everyone who is on social media practically already knows you. You're a Bradfordian. We've kind of grew up together. We used to play football on Weather Pitch.
Oh,
I
no
don't know if
way.
you know. Do you know where that is?
No idea.
Drummond Road, next to Masjid Bilal.
Okay.
We used to play football there. Families know each other. But let's get straight into it. Welcome. Thank you for coming on.
MashaAllah, Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much, man.
So first, normally what we do is whenever we get a guest on, we ask them to like kind of throw it back. So obviously you're in the Islamic field, you work with kids, you do talks, public speaking. How did all that start? Where did it come about?
Well, first of all, obviously, thanks very much for inviting me, two hungry lads in front of me, and that's Hungry Ass and I'm a Munchbox and the man himself. It's good to be here. It's good to see what you're doing. Your content and your work speaks for itself. And Allah reward you, Allah increase you in that, and may it be a source of goodness and blessings for people. May good come from that and continue from that. And likewise, Food for Thought, fittingly, perfect name for two big guys and that who like to munch and eat and that. So that's a good thing. And getting me on, I mean, you dropped me a text message. What was it? Just a couple of weeks ago, saying, "Look, can you come on?" I said, "Look, anytime for you. You've never really said no to me whenever I've invited you for an event or a talk or anything of that nature. So it's only right that we return goodness with goodness. And that's how it should be, and that's what we should be bastions of. And we should be sharing that in every way, shape and form, helping each other in goodness. وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. Allah said in the Quran that you should assist each other, help each other in good and in righteousness. And you shouldn't assist and help each other in bad and evil. 100%. So where there's good, you should be promoting that and helping that and supporting that in the best way possible. Anyways, about me, I mean, where do we start? We can start from the top end or the bottom top. You know, it's
Just in chronological order. Let's what happened first.
Well, chronology-wise, I obviously born and raised in Bradford. Lived the first 16 years of my life here. Studied at Atlas Primary School. I think Munchbox was there then. How old are you now?
32.
Yeah, same age. We're probably in the same year, you know.
No, Atlas Primary.
Atlas.
It's on Drummond Road, Arnold Place.
Okay. Yeah. Just opposite, yeah. So I used to live on Newport Place.
Okay. Practically opposite, and I'm 1 street away.
And he was a street away. Yeah. So funnily enough, our roots go back to the same ends. So we grew up together in that sense. We were probably in the same class or probably in the same year group, of course.
Okay.
I'm 32, I'll be 33 in 2 weeks' time from now on Valentine's Day, funnily enough. 14th of February and that. So, alhamdulillah, it's good. Grew up in that area of Bradford. It was a good area. You know, it was urban culture. There was a lot of young people. We grew up together. There was a lot of unity then. A lot of togetherness. We had elders in our community, elder brothers, who I'd say they were 10 years older than us, took us in as like younger brothers. I grew up playing football on those streets, heavily loved playing football, going to Atlas. You know, playing 3-a-side, 4-a-side there, free kicks on those metal shutters that used to be there, you remember?
There was that game, what was it called? 60 seconds.
Yeah, 60 seconds, we played 60 seconds. Then next to Masjid Bilal, you had the weather pitch as well, the sports centre. So we used to just jump over the gate or through the gate. We used to walk in and
we used to climb over,
and we'd play. You know, and when we say our childhood was growing up football, or it was on the streets, we were on the streets that was safe. You know, we was playing football from sunrise till sunset. 100%. You know, that's how it was for us. No mobile phones, no social medias, no TikToks, no Instagrams, no Facebooks, nothing. It was just pure, proper social company and that. Proper chilling with the people, face to face, on a level with them. And that was the best thing about it. That was the absolute best thing about it. And grew up there 16 years. Well, actually, I grew up there for the first 8 years of my life. Then I moved out of that area. My father bought a house up in Bradford 9. So we moved up around 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes up the road in a car to the Toller Lane area.
Okay.
So I spent the next 8 years there. I went to Margaret Macmillan School, so I moved from Atlas Primary to Margaret Macmillan Primary, which was on Scotchman Road.
Yeah.
So then, you know, my early teens were spent on Scotchman Road and on the turf pitch there. You get me? And he's buzzing because he knows exactly where we are and that. And
100%.
It was a right vibe and that. And then there were local football teams we joined at the time. I remember my dad took me to play with Bassi. I don't know if you remember Bassi Arif. He used to have a team called Heaton Juniors. So played with them football wise. Went to school, secondary school. Went to Nabwood.
Mr. Smith.
Mr. Smith. Well, you at Nabwood as well?
No,
you were not Nabwood.
You know, funnily enough, I was in challenge. I didn't get kicked out, but what I used to do, I used to skive, catch the 662 bus, get off near Nabwood at the bottom side, where the hotel is, and I used to walk through that jungle where the bridges are, and I used to randomly walk into classes where my cousin was and just sit down.
Why did you use the skive school to go to school?
Because my main friends were going Nabwood, and the friends that I had in challenge at that time, we weren't really getting on, so there was a lot of conflict. So I used to go on that board. You had Mr. Smith there. The reason I know him because I got called once. Obviously, I wasn't supposed to be there. There was a teacher called Mr. Malik, a maths teacher. Yeah. He called me. He goes, "What are you doing in this class? You're not even a student here. I'm running at the school, and these teachers are chasing me. I'm just running for my life. And you can imagine, I'm a big, heavy kid. I'm running, panting and everything. Yeah.
Back through the jungle.
There. Luckily, not even blending it. There was a bus there. I've just run into it, go on the bus, and then after that, I did Tawbah. I'm like, I'm never going back to my school because obviously I was playing with fire, man.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and Nabwood, we was there. I mean, I studied there for obviously till year 11. I never got expelled from school, but I do remember getting suspended once or twice.
Can you go into why?
Well, back then, mostly for fighting.
Okay.
So I got into one fight and I got suspended for a week, and I still remember so clearly. I ended up having a fight with someone, and he swore at my mum, so I've ended up punching him up, and then I got suspended, and may Allah give my grandfather Jannah, and that he'd come over as a visitor from Pakistan.
Right.
So he was actually in my house at the time. So, you know, obviously grandparents, they says, you know, what's happened? I says, look, you know, they've kicked me out of school. I says, well, he goes, Kian, why? And I says, you know, he swore at my mum, and I just punched him, and you know, they caught me, and then I was in isolation, then got suspended and blah, blah, blah. And then my mum goes, my mum just giving me a load of grief, my dad and that, and my granddad goes, shabash, well done, man. You know, I'm glad you did what you had to do there. And they're like, we condoning this stuff, man. You shouldn't be promoting this. So at that time, it was like that. So it was good in that sense. Well, it wasn't good in that sense, but you know, that's what happened.
Yeah.
And then after that, obviously, I was 15. I was 16. Just turned 16, and when was Ramadan then? No, I was back end of 15.
When we were around year 10, 11, it used to be winter time because I can remember they used to give us like packed lunches.
What year is it? 2015, innit? I'll tell you now.
Yeah. Because around that time, they were...
No, 2005. What about 2005?
Yeah, 2005. I left in 7. You must have left in 6 then. Because if you left us in February, you'll be an academic year above me.
Above you, yeah. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Because at them times, I remember they used to give us packed lunch bags, and it was winter time.
October...
It was
Ramadan.
Yeah.
In 2005.
Yeah.
And I sat itikaf.
Right.
In Hanfia Masjid.
Hanfia, right, okay.
So I did 10 nights there.
Wow.
In October. So it's like, I don't think it was half-term holidays, or it might have just... Actually, I'll tell you that now as well. I'll just check now. And it might have been half-term holidays, or just half-term had finished and the second half of the term began. And I just... I went to Itikaf, and I remember taking a week off school then at the time as well. So I sat Itikaf, and it was the best experience of my life at the time. Completely changed me from hanging around with lads who were smoking drugs. Weed was common then.
It was a big thing.
You know, it was a big thing then in our, like, cocaine and heroin wasn't as big as it is now, as weed was then. But weed now is just the go-to drug for a lot of people, along with other stuff as well. But, you know, there's too many bagheads out there, and they just love getting high and sitting in their car and just dozing off, and you know, on street corners and whatnot.
Like Priestman Street, I don't know if you remember or not, it's like, we're not going to mention no names or anything, but there used to be like a full lineup next to the mill.
Yeah.
Man used to come and just go boom, 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 and go.
And that's it.
Yeah.
They used to give their medicine and that, and boom, they're gone. Street pharmacies and that. But no, so obviously from going from chilling with them and then, you know, having at the time, you know, a lot of female friends, and at the time, you know, listening to music and stuff that Islam really, you know, completely says, look, this is not what you should be or doing, and it's not right. So I left from there, that extreme sort of thing, from at the age of 14, 15, and a lot of football. Yeah. So the one thing that stayed after that experience in Itikaf, the Itikaf was the football carried on after. But most other things changed. So I sat Itikaf, came out, and I'm just so charged, so strong in my beliefs. So minimum contact discussion with, you know, the ladies, the girlfriends that were there, not girlfriends per se, but friends. The friends that were females at the time, the boys who drugs, you know, nowhere near them, didn't want my scene.
Just give me Islam.
You know, Islam I mean, further, brothers, don't do this. This is not good for you. So I'm starting to now develop this other side of me, which has become my life, which has made me into the person that I am. And then from there, it's just like the Itikaf experience lit a match inside me, a torch inside me, and it just started burning. Slowly. This passion, and it became an inferno where I just wanted to study. Like I felt like I was thirsty for hunger. I was thirsty and I was starving. You know,
you found what's the word?
A calling.
Yeah, that's it.
There was a calling. It's like I just want to go study. I need to know more. I'm reading this book, but this is not enough. So then it led me to research and find out, well, where can I go and study? So I ended up going to Jamia Al-Karam, which is an institute, a madrasa in Nottinghamshire. So it's on the outskirts of Nottinghamshire, just off the A1, Retford. So Retford A1, you take the sign, and then it leads you to Eton Hall, which was an old school, RAF base, and also a teaching school after the World War. It's set on 30 acres of land, and it's like 200 room hostel. So at the time they used to have secondary school there as well. But I didn't do my secondary school there, I did it here in Bradford. But it's an hour and a 15-minute journey. And I remember I went to study in madrasa, and I enrolled. I remember my interview very clearly. You know, it was next level. Just, you know, start going to Hogwarts Express and that. Do you know what I mean? And
Harry Potter
and that. And the thing is, my dad would drop me off. I wasn't catching a train. Do you know what I mean? And my old man was a staunch guy in the sense that, you know, he was strict on timing. So I still remember when I went for my interview, and I did my interview, and I met at the time the principal, still the principal as well, my ustaz as a Qibla Pirzada Saab, and I was just in awe of this man, you know, white beard, just his presence. And you know, I did the interview, and they asked me loads of questions, you know, who's your inspirations, and I mentioned a lot of scholars and mashayikh of the time that I looked up to and was inspired by, and then they says, right, you know, I remember in August 2006 I went to get my exam results, GCSEs, you know, GCSEs come out and that, and I didn't get good results. I didn't get good grades, bro.
You're doing better than me.
No,
I got an E and a G. You did better.
Well, I got an F and a U. I'm not even joking. Well, I tell you what, I got 4 C's, 4 D's, 2 E's, 1 F and a U.
I only got 2 maths and English, and the reason was that.
Listen, maths and English is the one that you need. You didn't even get that. I got a GMVQ, which is equivalent to 4.
Yeah.
So I didn't get my GCSEs that I needed to get me anywhere else in college or anything of that sort.
Wow.
Not a problem. But my mind and heart by then has been, I've just given it to going to study the deen. That's it.
We can't be a food podcast without food.
No, absolutely, man. Can't go wrong.
There you go.
See, guys.
The funny thing is, I actually, before I came, I usually, my daily routine, more or less, is that I go for a coffee at around 4:30, 5 o'clock. So, today I read Maghrib, picked my mate up, my coffee partner, and I says, let's go. I think you've knocked the mic, yeah.
Come on, man.
Relax. He's excited, his food's here, man.
Relax.
Hungry ass.
So I tell you who delivered the food.
Go on.
Shian's dad, Jav.
Yeah.
Oh, he was swearing.
Why?
Because he went over the road and he didn't know what to say.
Okay. So when you like mentioning your dad and stuff, I've seen it in your talks. Like how they not just inspired you but motivated you and supported you throughout your journey.
Yeah. My father wasn't a religious guy.
Yeah.
He wasn't religious in the sense that he'd studied or he was an alama or a maulana or a peer or any sheikh or none of that. My father wasn't any of that. He was just a simple guy who was born in Pakistan, raised in Pakistan, and he was the eldest of 8 brothers. And you know how it is. Our grandfathers weren't the richest. We weren't born with golden spoons. We were poor, and my father was the eldest, and I still remember he used to tell me that, at 12, 13 years old, he used to go and work in the brick factories in Pakistan. Wow. And they had to travel, a good distance for work and stayed there for 3, 4, 5 months at a time, and he was 13 at the time, so he wasn't interested in studying. In there they've got a similar system. What they call, instead of the years, they call them Jamaat. So Pehli Jamaat, Dusri Jamaat, Tisri Jamaat, Chauthi Jamaat, Panjwi Jamaat, My dad did 5 Jamaats, which was basically primary, and then dropped out. Then he got into habits like smoking. But my granddad says, right, you're the eldest of all your brothers, you're gonna come work with me. And in our language, patte par kaam karne san. So what they used to be bricks, clays. So they used to get clay, brick, mold it, get it there, and then they used to throw it into the furnace. And it burned massive. Even if you go today, even your ends like Attak and Peshawar and these ends,
that you can't stand around there. It's
too unbearable heat. And like there's heat, and then there's the heat that comes from the furnace or from these massive. It's a factory, really. My dad at 13, 14 worked there.
Wow.
Because of the poverty. So my granddad and my dad used to go work there and worked out there, and then once he's worked, my dad married his first cousin, which is quite typical amongst us. I'm from Mirpur. My origins are from Mirpur. We're from a village called Karak, which you might know very well.
Fish
is from the same. So Dale and me we're from the same villages, absolute same village. Me and Fish are. So we've got that common link. His father, my dad, his granddad, his great granddad, my granddad, great granddad. We were all one clan sort of thing. So he reads Jummah with us. He was with me with the Lair and those boys. We were sat in the office after Jummah last Friday anyway. So my father was out there, and then obviously he got married to my mum. My mum was born in England, and then my mum called him over. So like typical mangators on the mango boat coming over, freshies and da. My father was one, and what? So my father came over. He wasn't practicing. He wasn't educated. All he ever knew, his DNA was simple: work. That's all he ever knew. He just knew how to graft, work, halal, work, and just work. That's it. So my dad just worked. So he came here, he worked in the factories here. And only last week I went to do an opening of the Drinks Den. He's a mate of mine, Hafiz Shoaib. Hafiz has opened a shop in Keithley, and he goes, look, Imam Sahib, come do the Dua and Khatam and that. I said, okay, no problem. And funnily enough, there were people there who said that, we remember your father. Says, how? Oh, he used to work in John Haggis Mill with us in Keighley.
Wow.
And I'm going back 30 years now. I'm 32, so we're going back a long time. And my mum still has his wage slips from that time.
Wow.
So these are my roots.
Yeah.
They're not religious roots. They're not the most practicing roots in that sense. And then we grew up, obviously my father, it wasn't the most practicing household to start with. But then the big change came when my mamu, who used to work in Esso petrol station, his name was Umar.
Yeah.
He passed away at the age of 22. So he passed away at 22, and that was the first major death in our family.
Is that
Who?
because I remember one of your uncles passed away when we were younger. I was in Kashmiri Civic Hall in the car park. You know, like before you do the janaza or after, when everyone's
On Drummond Road.
opposite. It was
That was, he's got a good memory. Munchbox says.
Yeah.
That was my chacha.
Hassan's
dad.
Yeah.
That's my chacha, but this is my mamu.
Okay.
So this is my mum's brother.
Okay.
That was my dad's brother.
Yeah,
he passed away after my mum's brother passed
You were
away.
younger, yeah.
So at that time, I was 11 my chacha passed away first. I was 11 when he passed away, and then my mamu passed away. I was 13, 14.
Yeah.
So we had two major deaths that triggered my entire immediate family just turning to Allah and that. Like, I'm talking my aunties, my uncles from my mum's side. My nana was already like he was a hard worker. He was the first generation of our family to come, and so on and so forth and that. And that triggered us, and my mum then became, practicing. Salah is the most important thing. Boom. And everyone needs that trigger in life.
100%.
If I asked you, what's your trigger that brought you to Islam? Or what's brought you, what are you going to say? Well, my granddad used to read namaz in front of us. And that triggered. Well, I didn't have that. My granddad was a strict man. My nana was a strict man. My dad's dad was in Pakistan. He only came over as a visitor once or twice, and that's the only time I ever seen him. Otherwise, it was just the tapes that used to come over.
And the blue envelopes.
And the blue envelopes, mate. That's it. That's all it were. But my nana was very practicing. He was a student of Bir Maruf Sahab.
Right.
And so on and so forth. And that then led that change. And it's my mother who had the biggest influence in my life. She's the one who takes the most credit. My father gets the credit of him earning the halal to fund me to study. It's him who joined the pennies and the pounds that I could study in the madrasa and, carve out the path that that Allah has set for us and where we are. And that was my dad's influence in that sense. But my mum, there's nothing like that, man.
No, it's like whenever I've seen your talks, I can't remember if you did it in Sheffield or where it was.
Mother's talk.
Yeah.
I
that was
Sheffield.
A video, and I'll be honest with you, I broke
Send that here.
That's okay.
Everybody's
throats getting dry. I said the water.
No, I remember watching that talk and the way, just touching up on our elders. Obviously, we're normal roadmen. We haven't really studied Islam. We just do our basics. But when it came to our elders, what I've noticed and seen is that, like you said, they might not have been fully close to Islam, but what they had, the basics, they practiced that.
They were firm on that.
Yeah. So the basics, look, we've got everything. We can go on internet, on your phone, boom, and you can research anything. They didn't have access to any of that.
No.
But what they had was, like you said, they were hardworking, they had self-respect, they had morals, ethics. And this is the reason why when we look at the elder generation, even though they didn't have a lot, what they did have is the reason they were successful because they were firm on it and they practiced it.
Well, if you're happy with the little, and you're firm on the little, then you'll get a lot further than the ones who have a lot but don't have value or appreciation for it. We've got a lot in our time, but we don't. We've got everything at our beckoning call at the tip of our fingers, literally, and we don't have no value. Therefore, there's no barakah. But when you don't have a lot, you value it, And when you value things, then in that, the spiritual blessings remain, the barakah. That's why we've got a pizza in front of us. There's 1 to 8 slices.
Yeah.
You know, between us, well, you guys are probably yammed a lot on that. I might have a piece in there, yeah. But the rest of you, but I'm just saying that there's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that one person's food will suffice for 2.
Yeah.
2 people's food will suffice for 4.
Oh, yeah.
4 people's for 8. Why? Because there'll be blessings in that food that will pass. How is it that this could suffice us all? You see, they had a little back in the days, but they ate from one pot.
Yeah.
Now we've got plates upon plates upon plates, but we're not content. We're not satisfied. We need more, and that's because the spiritual blessings, what we call barakah, lifts from there, and barakah remains in things when you're grateful. That's why after we eat we say Alhamdulillah. Do shukr to Allah always, because these are blessings that we should never devalue.
100%.
We can say there's a price to this pizza, but the truth is there's people out there who haven't got the money for this, but the value is priceless for them. Well, you know, it's just basics in that.
100%.
And I'm not here to lecture anyone. I'm here to probably here to talk about my life more than to give a lecture. But I'll throw 1 or 2 in on that as we go on. Don't mind.
What you're doing is 100% right. It's like, look, obviously off camera I kind of mentioned it. It's like when people watch my videos, they see a full pizza, but they don't understand. I'll have 1 slice, I'll sample it, I'll talk about it. Then they're like, did you really eat that full pizza? No, man. There's people with me. Like, look, if you come with me, I usually when I go film, I have 2-3 lads with me.
Yeah.
Because wherever I go to do a video, they literally pull out the red carpet, give everything, and it's like physically possible. How much am I supposed to eat?
Absolutely.
So I sample everything. Then the rest, the boys will either finish it, I'll pack it up, come home, give it to family, or like when you go to them traffic lights, I'll just give it to them homeless people. Share the food. Obviously, I won't give them anything that I've bitten into, like a pizza which we haven't touched. We'll give them chips and that kind of stuff, because obviously hygiene and that kind of stuff and cross contamination.
Absolutely,
So, but this is the thing with our community. Unfortunately, when you're doing something irrelevant of how good it is or not, they're always gonna assume.
But they'll always find faults.
Yeah.
You've got too many fault finders out there. I can tell you that better than anyone, because I've been through it, and that you could probably ask me later anyway. What happened and what's going on and this, that, and the other. But there's too many out there just watching you to see you fail and fall. That's 100%. It. They don't watch you for any other reason, and you have to expect that, because with popularity comes the hate. You know, not everyone. You know, there's something wrong with them mentally, that they have to resort to what they resort to in order to get some element of satisfaction. So hasad, haqad, this is what jealousy is.
No, 100%.
You know, what you can't have, well, why does he have?
Yeah.
You shouldn't be like that, man. You should say, what he has, oh Allah, give me even a little portion and share of that.
100%.
Not, why does he have it? Why has he got it?
Everyone's kismat and risk is written,
and Allah gives you free will to go out and carve opportunities for yourself as well. Ultimately, it's from Allah. Why don't you go out and work? You switch the camera on, you build an appetite, you do what he does. If you can do it better, you show us. Why don't you show us that then? But they can't. So when they can't beat you, you know what they'll do?
Bring it down.
They'll try to troll you. The thing is, unfortunately, what I've seen, you've seen it yourself as well. I'm going to stick to our community. I don't want to go anywhere else. And the thing is, with our community, the people who you're mentioning, they do that. If they channel that energy into something positive, like you said, they could carve something out. But they don't do that. They just make fake accounts. They troll you. It's like, look, you were mentioning stuff about yourself. We're all human. We all make mistakes in irrelevant ways. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are, or how much Islamic knowledge you've got. I'm a normal person, but we're all human at the end of the day. People, look, even the age-old story, Shaitan, he made a big mistake. So he was given the title of, he wasn't an angel.
The leader of the angels.
Yeah. Because
he was Ustaz of the Malaika.
But then from what we were taught, obviously what he did, he refused to bow down. He said, look, I'm made out of fire, he's made out of clay. Do you get what I mean? Therefore
I'm better than him. And خير منه, actually, these are the words of the Quran and that. خلقتني من نار وخلقته من طين. Ana khayrun minhu, I'm better than him. You created me from fire, you created him from clay. Therefore, I am better. My logic tells, my mind tells me I'm better than him. And it's the arrogance, which is one of the first sins ever. Arrogance, which is from shaitan, that led him to what? His destruction. I'm better than him, so I'm not going to bow down to him. But Allah says, if you truly worship me and you truly listen to me, then obey my command. My command, I order you to bow down to Adam, this creation of mine. In reality, you're not bowing down to him, you're obeying my command, and you're bowing down to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and fulfilling his command. But no, that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case with shaitan. And that led him to his destruction. And then the human beings, Allah's created the human being to sin. Sayyidina Ghazali rahmatullah alayhi in his Ihya, he writes, he said that Allah created the human race to sin, to find that from the sinners, the best amongst them are those who repent, those who turn back to Allah. For if there is a group of people who sinned, a group of people who Allah created and did not sin, Allah would destroy them, remove them, bring a people who would sin so that they would do tawbah, that Allah could forgive them. You know, we're quick to judge people on their sins.
Yeah.
We're quick to say, he's this, he's that. We point fingers at others, but we forget that we're all open to
making mistakes,
possibility of sin. You know, we are prone to sins. That's the human being. But the best amongst you are those who turn back to Allah.
100%.
And people forget that sometimes slander is the biggest sin. Backbiting is a bigger sin. You know, gossiping is a bigger sin. We forget these are the sins that actually destroy a person's character. This destroys a person's nature. You know, their natures get corrupt because of these things. And that's what happens when you've got people trolling online. Their nature and their characters are destroyed. They're harbored through gossip and through backbiting. You know, how common is backbiting? We say in gatherings, there's not a gathering where we won't mention next man. You know, and good or bad is backbiting. You know, we mention, if we say someone's the good of someone, even that falls into the category of backbiting. Do you understand? We have no need to put another person's name in our mouth. Why should we? We live for ourselves. And that's the most important thing that we've got to bear in mind. And I don't know, man, there's loads of things that you can say, and we see it all, and I'm just relating it to you because obviously you've got a platform, you've built a brand, you've built a popularity, you've built a base, you've got a following, people see you, you're not a religious role model, you're not an imam, you're not going to be held in the same accountability as me. Yeah. That's the truth. Yeah. That's the truth, and you're not going to be, so people shouldn't assume that. But at the same time, in my position, I'll tell you, we're humans, we're not angels, bro. You're gonna don't expect we have to. I believe, look, everyone says, oh, but you're an imam, you can't do that. Forget the big things, just small things. Or I came to this podcast, these is what I wear normally, this is my day-to-day wear. You'll see me so many times, I'll have trackies on. Oh, Imam Sahib, you've not got your jubba on. You haven't got a hat on your head? Yeah. Okay, all right. We should cover our head. There's reasonings for that. But I've not got my head covered, for example. I haven't got my jubba on. And you know, at that time, when you see that, you think, well, what's going on here? You know, he's not wearing a jubba. You know, he's got a hairstyle. You can't do that. You're an imam. My brother, you're a Muslim. You forget, what about, you're a Muslim. So I can't do it because I'm an imam. I'm a Muslim first, then I'm an imam. Yeah. But you can do whatever, but you forget you're a Muslim. Yeah. You're going to be equally questioned on the Day of Judgment for what you do. Yeah. I may be more held to more accountability because of the position, but move the position out of the way. Are you not responsible for your own actions? Of course you are. So therefore, stop looking at people as if, you know what, he's far greater. That accountability is with Allah, not with people. 100%. And to Allah we will answer, and to Allah we will return, and we will have to answer that. But people just have to understand these things. That look, what are you going to do? Do you think that you can do a sin and you'll get away with it because it's you? No, you're a Muslim. You're still going to be questioned. Don't forget that you are a Muslim. The moment you read the kalima La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasul, you've entered into the accountability stage now. You will be asked whether you're an imam or not. That's a title, that's a position. Leave that, forget that. Just generally. And that's what people just don't, I just baffles me, man. It baffles me, the thought process, the thinking some people have. And they look at us as...
Say that all the time, don't they?
No, but they look at us as angels. Wallah, they expect us, but we're not. We're human beings. I'm telling you my own story. Look where we come from.
Yeah. No, I think...
this is how it is.
What it is I think, like you said, when you have the knowledge, when you've studied, it's not that you've been put on a pedestal, it's people look at you in a certain way.
Absolutely.
But like you said, if you remove that, you're still a human being. And we all, like you said yourself, you mentioning earlier, we all have been created in that way to sin and make mistakes. Obviously, you fight your desires, you fight as much as you can. But especially men, I can't talk about women, but men ourselves, there's everything out there.
It's the same.
Yeah.
Women are no different in this scenario. Women are equally open to the fitna and the sin. We can't sit here and say, no, I'm not a misogynist or I'm not anti-feminist, if you know what I mean, before someone throws a comment in the comment section. Do you know what I mean? Top G and that. Forget all that. I'm just telling you on a genuine, serious level that we are all, male and female Muslims, we will always be tested by Allah. And sin will always be before us. But at the same time, وَهَدَيْنَاهُ النَّجْدَيْنِ We've shown him two paths. نَجْدُ خَيْرُ وَنَجْدُ شَرُ. Good path and bad path. You have both of them in front of you. You choose what you want to do. And whatever you choose will then become the consequence of your action. If what the consequence that will follow of your decision, well, you should know. If you choose to drive your car at 100 miles per hour and you go and hit into a tree, well, there's a reason why they put speed limits, because they know what the result and outcome of that will be. Khalas, you should think like that, but we don't. We live in the moment, we think this, that, minor, get away with it. Allah's given us two ways, and men and women are susceptible to both. We've got choices to make. Do we go right? Do we go wrong? Do we go right? Do we go left? These are things we've got to do, and it's, you're right. Everyone is open to that sin.
It's like I do food videos. I started it off 2 years ago, 3 years ago for fun.
Yeah.
Now, alhamdulillah, I've literally packed up my, that's chicken I think, I've packed up my full-time job, and I'm doing this full-time.
MashaAllah.
Dig in, don't be
Kulu washrabu wa la tusrifu.
So,
drink.
Don't
waste.
No.
I can certainly say you're not going to waste. No. I'm just reading the verse of the Quran, its translation.
This I won't touch. The reason is it's got onions in it, and I know onions are good for you. They thin your blood as well. But for some reason, I don't know, like raw onions like this, they like my kryptonite.
So you do food videos now for a living?
Yeah.
Can I ask you, how did your training go with Dale and that? I was keeping up to date a little bit, and then
basically
you just
I bought these trainers. They give me 5 extra BHP. To be honest I'm gonna be completely straight up with you. I trained with fish for 4 months. In that 4 months, I lost 3 stones.
MashaAllah.
So I didn't start training with him to lose weight. What it was I started with him, so what I'm doing, I could have longevity in it. So I could carry on doing food videos, but have that right balance there. So, because a lot of people watch my videos and be like, oh bro, you used to go gym and I thought you're losing weight. The goal wasn't to lose weight, it was to maintain some form
your
of
food
lifestyle.
standard.
Yeah, so
healthy lifestyle. That's how you started training, to increase the intake of the food.
So it was basically before I'd eat and just sit down, chill out, drive around. So I wasn't really active. With fish, in 4 months, I lost 3 stones.
Yeah, I seen what you put you through.
Yeah, he used to poke me with sticks and everything. Yeah. So, but the one thing I got a rate with him is that if you train with him, he tells you can't come half-hearted. Because the thing is, a lot of people, when we go train, we go gym, we hit that limit and we're like, oh, okay, that's it, I want to go home. But you have to push yourself. Anything you do in life, if it's work, if it's the gym, if it's Islam, until you don't push yourself and come out of your comfort zone, you're not going to be able to grow and develop, because you'll always hit that wall and be like, yeah, I'm comfortable, that's it, I'm done for the day. So with him, he used to push me. I used to literally puke up, and he goes, this is good. He goes, this is good because you're pushing your boundaries and limits. He used to get sticks when I used to be like, no, I can't. I used to get him, and he used to literally poke him up my ass. He used to put it in his Snapchat, but people he's torturing you, but no, that's who he is, that's his personality.
Yeah, no, of course.
And I got a lot of love for him because in that 4 months when I was with him, I lost 3 stones, and most of it wasn't even my diet was the same. All it was that I was training more. I was more active because normally I just drive around in my car, I'm sitting down and I'm doing my videos when I'm editing.
So when you're burning fat, aren't you?
Yeah.
So then your mind's telling you, well, I need to restore that. So at the same time, what happens is when you're burning the fat or the calories that you're burning calories, it's like, I've got to replace it.
Yeah.
So it's like an empty glass full. His was more than for his overflowing. You know what I mean? He was just going everywhere, right? Fisher says, right, let's put a cap on this, let's reduce this. But when he's reducing it, the glass is growing bigger. So what Fisher didn't realize is that he's actually getting him hungrier.
Yeah.
So you needed more. So you must have ate probably the same, if not more, because your body was getting used to it, so it's consuming it. And then it starts, so you're training, but then you're hungry at the same time.
Yeah.
The biggest problem was what? Instead of having this, which you do your thing, but anyone who's listening, I'm not a dietitian or a PT or anything here, but it's what the choice of food that you replace what you're having here.
Yeah.
So he could have gone onto the grilled chickens, for example.
I did.
The proteins.
I used to go a man's grill a lot with fish, so what was we trained.
They deep fry that first before they put it on the grill.
Listen, deep fry it. Look, they've chucked it on the grill, so it's semi-healthy. The thing is, like you were mentioning, when you're on like a gym flex, or if you're working, whatever, even if you're walking and you're not running or training in the gym, when you have that kind of mindset, your routine does change. So I was still doing my food videos, but what I would do is before I would film throughout the weekend, fully film. When I started training with fish, I stopped filming on the weekday and I was eating clean. As you say, grill food, and I was eating more salads, and I was going out and I was cooking at home using the air fryer and that kind of stuff. But weekends, then I'd go for like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It wasn't a cheat day because I'm not, like you were saying, I'm not really into fitness like that. But I dedicated the weekend for my food videos then, and I would go all out. But then Monday to Friday, I would be training with fish. And to be honest, the reason we stopped was because T, Mr. T, he went Palestine.
Yes,
so we had a little group. It was me, T, and Fish, and we would go Manningham Park, do one lap there. That's all I could do, barely just tanga. Fish would actually have weights on, and he'd have that mask on, which decreases your breathing, so it's hard to, so he'd be doing that, and then I'm the panting and everything, and he's like, Fashi, come on, do it. I've got all this on to be like you, because he'd wear the weights and the mask so he could experience it like me. So it's effectively slowing him down as well and making it harder for him. If I can do it with all this on, you can. We'd do that, then we'd go to rock solid gym, and by then what would happen is that straight up, mashallah, I'll tell you straight, Fish is an animal, bro. He'd do that one lap, we'd get to the gym, and he would basically do some form of lightweight training. I'm there like, and he's like, you're fat shit when you lift them burgers, you got the zor in here, but you can't lift the weight. I'm like, bro, I've just done a full lap in Manningham Park, I got nothing left. He goes, use your dal power. I'm there slowly going through.
And do you do boxing afterwards?
No, then after that, he'd make you do circuit training.
Alright, okay.
So then when you're there, he's making you do a military squats, do this duck thing, you make me sit like a duck and jump. All these next, it's crazy, it sounds funny, but if you didn't do it, he'd kick you and start recording you, putting it on Snapchat. Then you're like, shit, I have to do it, otherwise he's gonna do my basically. Then he's making you crawl like this, like they're doing the army.
Military crawl.
Yeah. So I would be with him for like start at 9 o'clock and get home for 12:30 after we've eaten. So like literally 3-hour workout. So that's what I know in that 4 months. When I was with him, I lost that weight, not because of my diet, but it was the amount of calories that I was burning with him. The intake, like weekdays, I completely shut out takeaways, and I was only having it in the weekend. So
they call it calorie deficit. It's a calorie deficit that, because what that does is. No, but it's good. It's good that you went through that and experienced that. What's it like now? That's the question. Are you back up at 3? Were you missed out, or are you steady, or what's going on, man?
I do go gym, but what it is, I don't really mention it, because the thing is, before when I started the videos, there was 2 reasons for doing it. One was to show my journey, but also motivate people who are not just going through a similar situation. Mental health is a big thing, and people who are overweight generally, when they eat food, a lot of people comfort eat. And I've seen that through messages, people messaging me, and through my Instagram DMs. So I thought, you know what, if I can do it, it can kind of maybe show other people, look, we're similar to him, and do it. So that was my main reason for doing it. But what ended up happening was the filming side of it. It's too time consuming. People don't understand. They think they see a 60-second video, they think, oh yeah, they don't understand. There's a lot of planning going into it. If you go gym, what workout am I going to do after filming? I'm not even into gym like that. Then after plan that, then when I come home, what am I going to cook to film? So it's like loads of things, and it got so much. I was like, look, I can't be asked with this. I still go to the gym, but I don't publicize it now. I don't show anyone. I just go do my thing. I'm in the gym. Like, I used to go JD's. I had to leave because literally, I remember I've come out the sauna, I've jumped in the shower, so you know when you have that cold shower, so I've had that, I've got tolia wrapped around me, I'm like literally half naked, yeah. These guys come up to me, yes Mr. Bunchbox, can I take a picture with you? And I froze, and normally I'm a confident guy, and I'm like,
oh no, they've caught me off guard here.
I'm like, bro, let me get dressed at least. And he's literally recording on Snapchat, and I thought, what the hell? It's not about me. I don't think I'm famous or my influencer. I believe I've got a bit of a liking, I'm a bit popular. That's about it. But it got to a point where people are coming up to me in the gym and I couldn't do my own workout. So now I go to a gym in BD3. Alhamdulillah, I'm enjoying it. People do recognize me, but I just put my headphones in, put my like nasheeds, you know, when you type in gym nasheed, I have them on and I just do my workout.
Do your own thing.
And I leave and no one says anything to me. Local gym is a bit different. People know you. I'm an approachable guy. There's nothing wrong with that. But unfortunately, one thing I've realized is no matter what you do, if you're in the limelight on social media for something good or bad, people, when they invested into you and they watch you, they build this relationship up with you, and when they come and meet you, they know so much about you, but you don't know anything about them.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it's kind of awkward because when you go out with your family or friends, you can't really have that privacy. And there's a lot of benefits to social media. Like you said, I'm not that in touch with the religion. I'm just a normal guy, but it's like people come on my lives and they're like, oh bro, you should talk about this, you should do this, and I go, look, I do it to the best of my ability, but I can't sit here and say to people, do this, this and this, when I'm not practicing it fully myself. Like, look, I listen to music, I know it's wrong. People always come on my live and be like, oh bro, this and that. I'm like, look, I'm not promoting it, but TikTok is an app which was made to promote music and dancing. Obviously, I do food, it's totally off subject and it's nothing to do with the app, but we've created that market there. That was 2 years ago, that wasn't there. I've started it off, I'm probably one of the first people to do it. Now, alhamdulillah, there's a lot of people doing it, and I'm happy because that I'd rather see youngsters make videos, even if it's food, technology, gaming, whatever, than stand on street corners and sell drugs. Because in Bradford alone, forget anywhere else in the country, Bradford alone, drugs is such a big problem. We've grown up with it. You know people, I know people who we've grown up with. Like you said, look, mashallah, you've gone to Deen. I'm not something like a role model, but at least I'm doing something positive.
Absolutely.
People go out, they pay for food. I'm going out, people are paying me to eat. It sounds funny, but alhamdulillah, I've worked hard to get there. I've got friends, you know people yourself as well in the local community who have grown up with us, who have chosen the wrong path. What is written for you, our studies taught this when we were younger, that what is written for you, you will get it, but how you earn it is up to you. Now you can go out and earn it in a halal way or a haram way. Now that was taught to us when we were younger, and it was instilled. Yeah, we got little licks here and there. We used to get the pencil through our fingers, squeeze and all that. Yeah, it was hard, but alhamdulillah, I'm happy we went through that transition because we're not that bad. We're all right. This new generation is
next level.
It's scary.
Crazy. Wallah, it's crazy. It's next level. Like, we've got, you know, we run a madrasa, alhamdulillah, al-hikam, you know, 300 kids study there. And, you know, every kid's unique, every kid's special, every kid's, we've had, you know, hundreds, if not over 1,000 at least, that have gone through our madrasa system there in the last 8 years, since 2015, since when I bought the building and stuff. And you're right, is this generation, the stuff that's going on out there, you know, with sexuality, LGBTQT, and all sorts of stuff out there, drugs, you know, it's just madness. It's madness. Technology, how they're handling technology, social media, bullying, cyberbullying. You know, there's everything on the online space and market. There's too much happening, man. Too much happening. And
you were
it's next level.
mentioning before about how there was a sense of community back when you used to grow up.
Yeah.
Now we don't have that anymore. What do you think are the key things that happened, and when do you think that transition happened where we just lost that sense of community and stopped loving each other and caring for each other and being more family orientated and playing on the streets and like being good with your neighbour, etc.? Because you're a lot older than me.
Well, how old are you?
Well, guess. I look about 40.
No, you're not 40. Hungry Hass, you are about 23, 24.
Oh, that's not right. 23, 24. I'm 26.
26?
Yeah.
Okay, not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
I've just lost all my hair at a young age. There's genetics.
So I'm not a lot older than you, just only 6 years older than you.
Yeah, 6 years is a lot though, isn't it?
Yeah. 6 years a lot.
Only because I'd class myself as still Gen Z, like around the 2000 period. I think you got to see a lot more of the 90s than I did.
Yes. I think post 9/11, 2001 onwards, the game changed. The world changed. You know, things were introduced. The world became a different. We were entering into a new world. We was entering into the new world, and I think the technology boom with social media, Facebook, probably the first one that came out.
Yeah.
Twitter. I think last year, August, was my 10th year Twitter anniversary.
Oh. Are you big on Twitter?
No, I've got about 11,700 on there, but I'm not really a big tweeter.
Okay, cool.
I tend to follow more Islamic accounts and just to see, good quotes on there and Arabic and stuff like that. That's sort of the thing. The Facebook, I probably was been on Facebook since 18, 19, I think. Wow. About 13 years now. And 84,000 on there.
Yeah.
Followers. Well, it's just numbers. It's nothing like that.
No, of course, but like.
But I'm saying, like, we grew up, and at the time when we were growing up, it was the BlackBerry.
Oh yeah.
Was it BBMs or something?
BBM, yeah.
Yeah, that was our time.
Yeah.
We were just coming into that. So in my late teens, Facebook came.
Right.
In my early teens, it was sort of BBM, if that. And before my teens, there was none of that.
Yeah.
There was Pages, or there was Nokia's 402s, 302s, Nokia 602s, or whatever they're called, 6210s. They were the mobile phones whose only objective was to call in, send a text message, receive a text message. That's it. It was all about the GPRS then. Even now, satellites, the world has changed, man. We're in the era of technology. Now, technology has gone even more advanced. AI, artificial intelligence technologies, you see the stuff is next level.
Yeah, serious.
Next level. You want to be in a movie, they'll put you in a movie. AI will do that for you.
Yeah.
And that's, this is the world we live in now, and we have to adapt to that. We can't say, we have to adapt. There's good and bad in everything. So it's that adapting. So though I'm from the 90s generation, I'm a 90s baby. I was born in 1990. Irrespective of that, it's, what came on after that.
Yeah.
What when we're saying after that, what we're talking about? We're talking about the 2000s, 2010. The change. 2010, it changed more. And 2020, it's just a new world.
Yeah.
From 2010 onwards, it was all about what? Snapchat, social, Instagram, TikTok now in the last 3-4 years. This is all it is. And you know what? In 5 years, probably a new app will come out. And we'll all get hyped on that app. We'll all follow that. It's developing and increasing and moving. And that's why we're in a world where communication is so much easier. Communication is so much easier, but there's no longer feelings left. I can communicate with you, but there's interactions not left. It's like virtual interaction now.
Everybody's socially anxious now to have face-to-face talks because they're so used to sending text messages.
They are, and not even that. Just you go to a janaza, you go to the foodie after the matam to do afsoos ta'ziyat. Wow, now everyone's on their phones. There's gonna come a time, I promise you, where people won't go for ta'ziyat no more.
They'll do it with the phone.
And they'll say, Inna lillahi, sorry to hear about your loss, brother. Yeah, back in the days, as soon as someone died, the whole street stopped. Yeah. Everyone went there. What was he saying to you? My chacha died in 2001, I think it was.
I remember that.
And Kashmir, I was 11, you was what, 10, 11 as well?
Yeah.
And it would have been, the whole street was packed. Such a young death, he was 28 years old, he had brain hemorrhage. And it stopped. Everyone, all came out. Didn't matter if you were Pathan, Chachi, whatever, Gujarati, you were Pakistani, Indian, Bangladeshi, we all got together. It was one at the time. Now, everyone's divided more than ever in their own thing, doing their own biz. Nobody cares, and that's just the world we're in. We've got to adapt to that, but we can't forget. We need to have that time where we're off our phones, we're off everything. Where's this gone?
Yeah.
There's just chill. We've got an objective of podcast, but the togetherness.
No, of course.
In families, in communities.
I think what it is, from my personal experience, obviously we all have our own personal experiences when it comes to our own families. We're all individual and unique in our own sense, but we have a lot of similarities as well. Like Imam was saying that, like how when we were younger, our relatives would actually literally go to... I've got a lot of family in Birmingham. They used to have A to Z maps. They'd use that to go around the country. I remember there used to be Nettos, where Aziz Fashion is. My granddad passed away when I was 3 years old, but I've got a vivid memory of them. I remember once I went to Nettos and he had a Nissan Bluebird.
Wow.
One of them, and he was one of the first people to have it as well. It's nothing to like show you, he worked hard for it. The house that my mum lives in, my granddad bought that for £500 in the 1960s. That kind of house now, it's like for us, them kind of houses go for like 120 grand. And now in this day and age, 120 grand is a lot of money. Even to put a deposit down, a lot of people struggle. The thing is, we live in a time now where we have got everything easy, but we make it so hard for ourselves. Because like back in the day, our elders, if they had an issue, they'd come together, they'd support each other, they'd lend money to each other, but it was all genuine. Now, brothers, if you look at it, when our elder passes away, I've seen in my own family, I've seen in other people's family, when that elder passes away, our elders went through so much struggle to keep that land in the family or to keep that land. They starved themselves. But now when that elder passes away, the children, the siblings, start fighting with each other over the inheritance. Who's going to get war, who's entitled to this. And people in Pakistan, obviously here it's a bit different. People have actually killed each other over it.
Yeah.
You've seen it happens. It doesn't matter if you're Milpuri, if you're Pathan or where you're from.
It doesn't matter.
It happens. And that's greed.
Yeah.
And
that's lack of knowledge as well. One subject in our communities which is not spoken about enough, or if at all, is inheritance. Have you ever sat in a lecture on inheritance?
No.
Have you ever listened to a talk on inheritance?
No.
There you go. If I said to you, do you listen to talks on, what Islam says about drugs and alcohol? Yes.
Yeah.
Status of a mother? Yes. Mi'raj of the Prophet ﷺ from Masjid al-Haram to Masjid al-Aqsa to the seven heavens and beyond? Yes. Karbala, Imam Hussein got martyred in Karbala, what happened? Yes. Mawlid talks, for example? Yes. The debate? Yes. This argument, that argument? Yes. Inheritance? No. Boring. Yeah. We don't listen to it. And that's one thing. Who gets neglected the most when it comes to Islamic inheritance? The women in our family.
100%.
They don't give nothing to them. Illa masha'Allah. They don't. That's a big problem, man. We need to teach this. In talk about inheritance. Yes, there's a lot of...
What are the rulings on it?
No, I don't want to go into great length and detail about inheritance, and Allah talks about in the Quran, that there's a third and a sixth and how muchever it may be for whoever it may be. In a nutshell, we've got to teach that, so that before you die, you write a will and you do wasiyah. So you write a will, you appoint a will writer, a just, righteous, upright person who writes the will, and then when you leave this dunya, boom, khalas. There's no arguments when you've left the dunya. Your daughters will get their share, your children will get their share, grandchildren, parents, everyone will get their shares. They'll get their share. And that's the most important thing. But what happens? We don't. Who we love the most, who we stayed with, he takes everything.
Yeah.
The rest of them, I didn't get nothing from my dad. I didn't get nothing from my mum. So I'm just saying, we need to... I'm not trying to plug anything. I don't teach inheritance or anything of that sort. I'm not an expert in inheritance.
Okay.
But...
it's something that needs to be spoken about.
It needs to be spoken about and talked on. Like many other things. There's too many a subject in our books, Islamic books, that just get neglected. 100%. But the common man needs to study and know, the basics even. Realize that, look, we need to know this. This is important. This is very important. And
So you mentioned before as well, obviously the passing of your mamu really brought you and your family towards Islam. So talk to us from then. So you went to, not Challenge, what was it called? Roads Way? Nabwood, sorry.
Oh, you went from Challenge, bypass Nabwood, straight to Roads Way.
If you were a taxi driver, you'd be a BTEC, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Khalas.
So tell us your journey, what happened after school and how you really set into Islam and stuff like that, to the person you are today.
You know what? I took a break there, so when you edit this, you don't put this part in. Obviously, have some pizza. You guys are not ant, man.
No, don't worry.
You could do bloopers and that.
I'll leave it.
And how long do you want to go on for?
Why you?
Bro, I tell you. No, I'm not pressed for time, bro. I'm telling you, I can talk, bro.
We want you to talk.
No, it's too long. People won't listen, man. Wallah, I'm telling you.
We're telling you.
I'm telling you. They trust me.
And what was
basically, you said you went to, was it
Jamil Karam,
Jamil Karam in Nottingham.
Nottinghamshire, yeah.
So how was that? You know, like you said, you've come from Bradford, a booming city where you've had interactions with men, you've had interactions with the females, you've been on the streets, you've been playing football, you've lived in that society where everything is the hustle, the bustle, and it's busy. But then you've gone to, it was like a boarding school.
Yeah, full-on boarding school, man.
So how was that transition when you went there? Was it easy?
It wasn't easy. No, it definitely wasn't easy, because I was one of the students that when I went to study in Jamil Karam, I studied there for 3 years, and it was term time based.
Yeah.
So, we went in September, and then your holidays were in December.
Yeah.
But people would go on the weekends. I never went on the weekends.
So
I stuck it out.
Wow.
And my hair, I'd go with a haircut, and I'd come back with everything grown and at the time my beard was very, very small, like as in it wasn't even growing properly. And strands were coming out, if you know what I mean. We were young in it, 16, 17, going through that age of human bodies developing and stuff like that. And then, I remember my father when he dropped me off. We got to Jamil Karam, and my mum dropped me off as well. And my dad was a taxi driver. He remained a taxi driver for the best part of 20 years of his life, probably. And I remember that his tyre burst. Man alive, he switched. Where you giving it? Oh my God! I thought. Oof. So then it was like a case. Drop me off, my mum, and then I still remember got my room, and put my stuff in there, and I used to take a lot of chocolates and crisps and stuff and boarding in it, and my mum will give me, I think, £20-30 spending money for 3 months or something.
Wow.
I had it tough, man. Wallah, I had it really, really tough. I didn't have no mobile phone then. I was 16, mobiles were out at that time. No mobile phone. Right, you're here to study. And I wanted to study. Let me tell you that. My parents did not tell me that you've got to go and become an alim or an imam or nope, nothing. It was, you sure? If you are sure, then you cannot come back as a failure.
You have to do it.
You have to go all the way. Are you sure?
Where do you think that feeling came from, that you just wanted to go?
Well, it was the itikaf, wasn't it? I think you missed that part.
You basically,
that's fine.
Basically, you went to collect the food. What happened was...
In that time, we went through my...
That's fine.
We did 16 years.
Yeah.
No, but it triggered me inside that I just had that burning desire to learn. And so when I started studying, it just grew. Where I struggled to write in an English exam, literature exam, language exam, mathematics exam, science exam, biology, chemistry, I didn't know what going on here. But when it came to, sarf and nahav, when it came to doing the zabar zir pesh on an ibarat which didn't have no vowelizing a text, an Arabic text which has no vowels on it, to vowelize, which is what we were learning effectively, the grammar of the language, implementing that. When it came to rulings of fiqh, when it came to hadith and usulul hadith, the science of hadith, the science of jurisprudence, usulul fiqh, when it came to usulul hadith, usulul tafsir, when it came to all these sciences, aqaid, Islamic creed and the books, reading them in Arabic, vowelizing the texts, answering the questions, man, we'd get to, it's a 2-hour exam. Ustad, you couldn't give us another 30 minutes, could you? I've got too much to write. And the world changed. I've gone from a guy who couldn't He'll hold a pen to saying, please give me more time so I can write more.
Yeah.
That's how it was.
Wow.
And it's like I grew into my element. I came, it developed me. So then because I had this, I did this, next level love for my teacher, Pizasa, still do. And you obviously won't know any of the stuff I could probably mention, but this next level love. Wallahi lazim, he's, if you like say, who's your inspiration? Who inspired you? I'm 32 now, and I'll be brutally honest. I had a fallout with the institute.
Yeah.
And things happen and stuff happen.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with what you might assume.
Yeah.
Something different. A lot of people may not know this. But wallahi lazim, there's not a day that goes by that I don't think of him. That I don't, this is the man who made me. Any good comes from me, this man takes the share. He's alive today. Best person. Biggest inspiration in my life. This guy is a living legend in our religious field, in Islam, in Islam in Britain. This man has contributed the most. Genuinely. Hundreds have graduated from his institute. He has produced them. He was a man who came with a vision in the 70s, and his vision came to fruition.
Yeah.
Now you see it, vibrant, prosperous, institute is built, Jami al-Karam. He's wrote the tafsir of the Quran. He's wrote a commentary on the entire Quran. He's done a commentary on the Sahih of Imam al-Bukhari. He's currently writing one of the most in-depth yet readable books on the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the seerah of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. And I used to do Jummahs on Friday, and I did a lot of Jummahs in Jami al-Karam as a student, and I would make mistakes. Obviously you might say a word wrong, or you might explain something that wasn't the way it should have been explained, etc. So we was in learning, and we could get corrected there. It was easier there, right? Whereas in the public you make one mistake, boom, you're done. Especially when it comes to religious. A text or something, you say slightly out, you're caught, boom, you've had it. You've got to be very careful. When it comes to the religious side of things. I used to do every talk, and I remember Pizza Sahab after the Jummah, we'd do Salam, and we'd go around and just meet them, and they'd slap me on my back, I'd kiss their hand out, adab. When we kiss the hands of our elders and our teachers, we do it out of respect. It's the respect for the knowledge they have, there's respect for the rank and status they have. It's adab, it's not shirk, it's not, I'm worshipping him, it's not, I'm crossing. No, you got it wrong. Why do you kiss your mum? She's your mother, isn't it? You're indebted to your mother, aren't you? Out of love and respect, don't you? This is my teacher. Do you know what he's done for me? Do you know what it's his du'as, I'm here where I am today. His maqam and status in Islam is greater than even my biological father. He has saved me from the fire of Jahannam for what he's taught me. So I would kiss, and they would say, MashaAllah, great speech. Even though I might have got it wrong, great speech. The confidence they instilled inside me, that is priceless, brother. And that I grew. It just helped me more and more and more and more, to the point that it was like the microphone was created for me, man.
Yeah.
I could sit and talk.
Dr. Dre, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Is that what he says?
No, but I'd say look, when you
well, the Dre of the Imams. No. Have some more pizza, eat some food, man.
And have some chicken.
And
you have to have a slice.
No, I'm not gonna have pizza. It's too much. I've had loads. Honestly, I went to Fresh Fillings, had my coffee there, my coffee fix, and I had my food there, and I just go for my regular. And but no, I just there was students that didn't want to do it. Oh, who's gonna do job? Yeah, give him it. He'll do it. Boom. I get on the mic, prepare a speech, do my research, write my points down on a piece of paper, get up and just deliver. Boom, deliver. Just let it go. And when I was letting it go, they'll correct this, fine-tune, tweak, fine-tune, boom. Got to the age of 19, 6 months before I graduate, we used to have this unbelievable time when at 5 o'clock it was tea time. and the great man himself would walk in. So we'd sit for tea. So all the students would gather together just to sit with the sheikh. And I used to be the guy who would go get the sheikh the tea. And you know how many sugars they wanted. I'd bring it, and there was a chair always next to him. They'd left empty for me. I'd sit next to him. I'd sit with them. And it was next level, because then I was like, I'm the confident one. So I'm throwing these questions. Huzur, what do you do? You know, what should I do when I get out there? How should I teach the public, the masses? What's our vision? What's our goal? Where do we need to be? And it's like he was carving my path, the path that I needed to follow. So he instilled in me in 2006, 7, 8, 9 that I've got to set up an institute. I've got to build a base. And then 6 years after I graduated, that became a dream. That dream became a reality called Al Hikam, which is in Ollerton, Bradford.
Yeah.
You guys probably been there. The Jummah's there.
Yeah. Bullroyd
Lane. Yeah. So you know, where did that come from? Who will take that credit? It goes back to my teacher. And you know, as a Pizza, they used to. So one time I've come in, right, and he goes, MashaAllah, Imam or Khatib, Barking Jamia Masjid. And I'm like, yo, what's going on here? And that. He goes, you know, the Imam and Khatib of Barking Central Mosque has just walked in. And, you know, there's all students. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, they go, I've just received a phone call from this masjid. It's a big mosque down south in London, East London. They're looking for an Imam. They need a good speaker. And I says, I've got the perfect student, perfect person, but he's not graduated yet. He's not done his exams. And I'm going to send you there. I, out of love and respect, laughed it off. I says, yeah, what am I going to go do? Becoming an Imam. And man, then I remember I graduated. July the 5th was my graduation. July the 10th, I'm doing a Jummah there. July the 20th, the contract was signed. 3 years you're there, mate.
Yeah, I remember that in Barking.
Barking, East London.
Yeah, I remember, because...
College?
No, it's obviously... when it comes to this kind of stuff, I've got a lot of friends who work in and around, have studied as well. Obviously, you've got SMT as well. There was lads from East London who came down to study there. And I remember...
Waqar.
Yeah.
Yes, Waqar
so
Najib.
He mentioned to me that, look, Imam Asim is the local Imam in Ahmad. So I remember whenever I used to go to East London, Green Street, I think I've been to the mosque
East
once.
Ham, yeah.
Yeah.
You're on top of East Ham.
I remember, because like when we went there, it's like when you go to London or if you go anywhere, you don't have that sense of security because you don't really know anyone, especially London is really busy. When you come from Bradford, we're a big city, but we're like the village.
Well, it's nothing compared to London.
London's next level.
Wallah is next level.
So when I used to go East London, I had that bit of sense of comfort. Yeah, look, there's someone local in the mosque who we know. Yeah. So I remember when you started your journey there, and then you did one of your first talks, and boom, everything blew up, like you said. And then I remember you doing talks all up and down the country. For myself personally, I think I came to one of your talks in Ramadan in Hanfiya. I can't remember which one it was, but you did a talk in Hanfiya. But majority, if not all of the rest of the talks that you've ever done, I've watched them online. Not like just put it on, I've literally sat there, watched it. Hence why I can remember you did that talk in Sheffield. Now that's not something easily for someone to remember.
Yeah. The mother's talk.
And that hit home because it's like when you talk about stuff, it's not that you just go in there and you're freestyling it. You, like you said, you do your research. You look at your target audience. Obviously, is young Asian Muslim men and the elder generation. It's not just you're targeting one audience. It's everyone put together. But when you go out, I sat there for 2 hours watching your videos on YouTube. And it's religious. It's at the end of the day, like you said, it's something that we can relate to. I've grown up with you. I know you from a personal standpoint. And then when seeing you grow and, you know, work like that, it makes you happy because, like you said, a lot of people don't see that. When they see you grow, when they see you develop, for some reason, I'm not saying everyone, but there's this small minority who will start hating on you and have this jealousy towards you. And when I seen it, hand on heart, genuinely, I've watched a lot of your talks, and it's not just because of the subject, it's because of who you are and the way you present it, and you can relate to a lot of youngsters and the way they look at you.
like connect to us a lot,
Yeah.
because I wasn't the most practicing Muslim, I'll be honest with you. And then it was like during COVID times, and then a lot of my lads were similar. We weren't really practicing Islam, and then slowly but surely, one by one, we were kind of he's not even looking. We kind of started listening to a lot of talks and stuff, and then one of my mates, Shaq, showed me a video of you, and he goes, "This guy, he just gets us
Next level.
He just gets us. Like he's talking to us. It's not an imam that's like talking to a broad audience. It's like he's talking to me." So I started listening to you, and then we heard about Al Hikam for BD8. Let's go to one of his talks.
Let's land.
And then that's it. We just used to land. And honestly, I used to love it. I used to absolutely love it. Then we started reading Jummah there as well. It was just, you connect with us on a more friend level, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Like it's
More
like you get us more approachable. You get us.
Died in the process as well.
You know, like what you're touching.
We've got backups.
You know, like what you're touching upon. I can relate to that a lot, and you probably can as well. When we were younger, it's not necessarily the imams, but a lot of mosques have committee members, and I'm not sitting here to go on a tangent and like create a lynch mob. No,
You got Imam Adil Mal, the brother who does all that. He's the ruthless one.
But the thing is, it's like when we were younger, I remember like local mosque, Masjid Bilal, and you said who's like your inspiration.
Yeah.
You'll probably remember them because you lived in the local area.
Yeah.
Maulana Zahur.
Passed away.
He was a big inspiration for us for a lot of reasons, and maybe the kind of good that I've got, like you said, I will
Credit
to him, Mauli Arshad, Maulana Shakil. The reason is because when they had that similar vision, they were part of Masjid Bilal. Now I don't know the intricacies of it, why they went their separate ways.
Yeah.
They did what they did. Alhamdulillah, they've got a lot going on for themselves. But Maulana Zahur, I remember when they passed away, and he still lives with me forever. It's not that like we're comparing it to like Hajj or anything like that, but the janazah was so big. People are saying like, you know, like when you go Umrah and you see loads of people, his janazah was packed out. I remember it was crazy. And the thing is, when we were younger, you know, the way they taught us, it wasn't just about the Islamic point of view. Like you said, they were English speaking imams and ustajis who taught us.
Yep.
The thing is, like when we went to Masjid Bilal, I'll say as it is, it's not no disrespect to anyone, but the truth is, when we went to the mosque, you have that jazba in you. At one point in your life, you have that in you.
You want to go that path.
We'd be little, we'd go to the mosque, we'd sit in the front row. Now, a lot of youngsters probably can relate to this. We'd sit in the front row, we're like, yeah, look, we're in the front, and you have that in you, like, we're in the mosque. One of the committee members will come, boom, kick you, get to the back. Now, in my eyes, that was very discouraging, because you come to the house of Allah, irrelevant of your age, if you're sat at the front, you should be entitled to sit there and read, irrelevant of how old you are. But when we were there, the committee members literally used to boot us. I'm saying it as it is, I'm not scared to say it. And no, but it's the reality.
It is the case,
And when you do that, genuinely, for me as a kid, I thought, I'm coming here, I want to read my namaz. These are telling me to go to the back. Why should I not just read at home? Or then what happens with that is when you start reading at home and you start not going to the mosque, maybe that's one of the reasons. I'm not using it as an excuse, but that kind of puts you off. Then you go start reading at home, then slowly you stop doing that because it becomes a habit. And unfortunately, it's sad to see that, because look, if kids are coming to the mosque is not just a place where you go and read. It's like a community hub, and that's what you've done, and I praise you for it in your place. You don't just teach kids, it's open, people want to come to you, they want to ask you for advice, anything. I've seen it with my own eyes. Even when I see you on the street, I've seen you in the petrol station many times. We have a little gap shop. Anything I want worried about, we'll have a discussion. Even I remember when you once rang me up, unfortunately I couldn't make it for that awards evening.
For Fairbank.
I do apologize, guys.
I think it's still rain.
Inshallah, when they do the next one.
It was young kids.
But it's like when it comes to Islam, from my own experience, the reason why we can relate to you is because you speak in English, you've got that tone where it's not just about the buzzwords, but youngsters can relate to it.
Well, what it is when like I said, when I graduated, it was a case of, well, what approach am I going to adopt? And a lot of young upcoming imams to be, or students who are graduating, I've had this, they've come to me and said, well, and I tell them that, I says, look, well, you need to ask yourself, what approach do you want to take? How do you want to give back to your community? How do you want to portray yourself? Because end of the day, you've been entrusted now with the blessing of ilm, knowledge. And there's 3 types. Sayyidina Qurtubi, rahmatullah alayhi, the great mufassir, he talks about it and he mentions it. He says there's 3 types of land. There's a land which doesn't grow anything out of it. There's another piece of land which it grows, the plant comes out, but it doesn't give out to anyone. And then there's another piece of land next to it which has plants, trees, and it gives fruits. And that's the example of scholars. You have some scholars who studied and kept it to themselves and carried and did every other thing. When I say they became teachers, they became pharmacists, they became solicitors. They didn't go further, but they have knowledge. They keep it to themselves. Then there's others who have knowledge and just benefit themselves and probably just their family. Yeah. They don't go any further. And then there's others who benefit themselves, the community, and everyone else around them. And it goes on and on like that. So what do you want to do? Do you want to go out into the public field and work? There's pitfalls with that. There's good, the bad, and the ugly with that. You know, do you want to be public? Do you want to be popular? Because all of that will come with that. How do you want to speak? You know, what's your approach? You need to look at that as well. Aside from approach, well, okay, what about in terms of, do you want to be a public speaker? Do you want to be a teacher? Do you want to be a lecturer? You know, where do you want to go? So when I was in their place they are today, and I'm talking to them and saying, well, what path are you taking? I was like, okay, well, you know what, I want to do public speaking. I just feel that I've got this talent, this ability that I want to use to help as many people through my talks. I don't sit here and boast or argue or even make this claim that I have a knowledge. وَمَا أُوتِيتُ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. I have no knowledge. I have no knowledge whatsoever. There's too many and far more out there that have got far more knowledge than me. I am a drop in the ocean in comparisons to them. They are better than me in every way, shape and form. Many are people. But I think I've got the ability to deliver. I feel I can grasp an audience. I feel I can just grip someone and just do my thing.
Like an eagle in it, get your claws in deep.
Probably inspired by the hand movement. But just saying that's so I knew, and I think Pizasa, my teacher, he's seen that long before.
Yeah.
That's his skill. This is his skill set. This is what he is good at. Boom. So what he needs, when's the best time for a public speaker? When does he get his biggest crowd?
Jumu'ah.
On a Friday. Yeah. Everyone turns up for Jumu'ah. Get him a mosque. Put him into a masjid. But with that came what? That I wasn't appointed, because I have no reputation. I haven't built a reputation as a speaker. I'm very raw coming out of the factory. It was like, well, he has to be an imam. So when I went to become an imam or practice the imam life, what was it? The contract was basically, you will work Monday to Saturday inside this masjid. Your living quarters will be in the masjid upstairs. We've got a 1-bedroom studio flat apartment, blah, blah, blah. And you will lead all 5 prayers. You will manage the madrasa, teach in the madrasa. If someone passes away, you will do the janazah. On the Eid Jamaat, on Eid day, you will do the Eid Jamaat and then the talks on every Jamaat after. You will do nikahs for whoever wants to get married. Anyone who passes away and they want to do a khatam or whatever, you've got to go the 4th or whatever day it may be. That is your duty as an imam. And you've got to counsel. People will come with their issues, masail. You are a counselor. You're an advisor. You're going to give them guidance. Oh, okay, I'm 19. How do I do that? What do I do? Theoretically, it's all right. I'm in the madrasa. I've seen the theory. Practically, throw me in the deep end. Why don't you?
Yeah.
So when that happened, my mum was like, I was like, I'm going to Egypt, because we had the option to go and study in Egypt, which is one of my regrets that I never got to study in the Arab world. I wish I had gone to the Arab world to study. Another regret is that I didn't do hifz of the Quran. I wish I became a hafiz al Quran. I so wish. I still make dua, Ya Allah, Summa, please give me the himmah, the tawfiq to memorize your book. Because that would just, I think, in terms of me as a person, and not just me as a person, but with my the skill set, that would just take it to another level.
Yeah.
Because you can then, the verses of the Quran will flow in unison with the topic of discussion. I can put, now I've memorized relevance to the relevance, but there is just, Sheikh Yusuf Abu Snaina, who's another one of my inspirations, the Imam of Masjid Al-Aqsa, it's just another level. He's a genius. He's an encyclopedia, brother. So, then I went to East London and I did 3 years. And I remember still that, Master Siddiq Sahib is probably in his 90s now, very old man. He was the chairman of the masjid. So I was working in a masjid which was forward thinking. I was working in a masjid which was with the times. I was working in a masjid which was very diverse. We had people from different maktaba fikrs there. Shias would read in that congregation. Salafis would read in that congregation. Deobandis would read in that congregation. Barelvis read in that congregation. Sunnis, we had so many different Africans, Turkish, reverts, converts.
The full spectrum.
Wallahi, I went from Toller Lane Masjid, where it was just Mirpur, Hanfiya and that, we went from these masajid in Bradford where we just saw brown skin. And I says, I've seen a guy, I still remember, I was baffled. I was like, for 1 month, I was just trying to work out, what's going on here and that. So I'm doing Jama'ah and, you're reading Surah Al-Fatiha and that. So we're Hanafis. We follow Sayyidina Abu Hanifa rahmatullah in his school of law in Islam. So, we're following, and we've always said that, when it's Isha, for example, or Fajr, the Imam says, غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ. No one says Ameen. They say quietly.
Yeah.
Ameen. I'm saying غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ. And from one corner to Ameen. I've never experienced that before. Like, what's this? We've got Shafi'is in here. We've got Malikis in here. We've got Hanbalis in here. We've got followers of the other schools of law. Amazing. Seeing them, they're coming in. Allahu Akbar. Their hands here. We're Hanafis, we put it below our navel. Here. Shafi'is, they put it towards the left, slightly above the belly button, towards the left. This is how the Shafi'i read. The Sheikh Abdul Rahim is a Maliki scholar. He reads in this congregation, Allahu Akbar, and he's just dropped his hands by his side. I'm seeing this. Before they go into ruku, we say Allahu Akbar, they go into ruku. Man, I'm seeing a diversity I've never seen.
Before,
If these people came into our masjids in Bradford, and they'd start labeling him. Not understanding, he might not even be what you're labeling him. You know what? He's a Shafi'i, he's a Maliki, he's a Hanbali. That diversity allowed me, albeit in my early years, I was quite raw and staunch, but develop a tolerance.
They open up your mind, innit?
Next level. I've gone from a well to the ocean. Have you heard the story of the frogs? Let me tell you the story of the 2 frogs. There was a frog that used to be next to the river, and he lived the river life. This frog happened to just go into a well. He's gone into a well and he goes, where have I come? There was a frog that lived in the well, and he says, where are you from? He says, I'm from the big world. He says, well, how big is it? So frogs, they leap. He jumped. He says, is it that big? He says, no, man, it's bigger than that. He jumped again. He goes, is that big? He says, nah, it's bigger than that. He jumped again. He goes, is it that big? He jumped again and he hit the walls of the well. He says, where are you from, man? My world, this. 4 jumps and I'm at the end of my world. He says, you can't imagine. You've got to get out of here to go and see what's out there. I've gone from a well where, yeah, there's diversity, but predominantly the largest concentrated areas, Pakistani population, is Bradford. It's the biggest in England, in the UK. You've got more concentrated Asian population in Bradford than anywhere else.
100%.
Birmingham big, but there's an element of great diversity there.
Yeah.
Manchester, London, Bradford, BD3, 5, 7, 8, 9, 15.
BD2 now as well.
Throw a bit of 21 in as well if you want. The Outcasts.
What's Keith Lee? Is it 21 or
22, 21 or 23 or whatever it may be. I think it's 23, right? Throw them guys in. They might be listening as well. We welcome you. Right. No, I'm not messing about. We love Keith Lee. Yeah. You know, and when you throw that in, I say, hey, gone from there to Green Street, East Ham, West Ham. You've gone to Leytonstone, Walthamstow. You've gone to Stratford. You've gone to Mile End. You've gone to, Hornchurch, Dagenham, Redbridge, Ilford.
Whitechapel as well.
Whitechapel.
I know.
Man, there is so much. So many different. And that just opened my mind to another level. And I was saying about Haji Sahib. What did Haji Sahib? I went to, if I missed a Fajr, or I missed one of the prayers as the Imam, he'd dock my wage.
No way.
He'd take £10 out my wage. Wallah, he's alive, ask him. So one time, I remember the first time it happened, I've come down, yeah, wage time, Friday, Jummah collection is done, give the Imam Sahib his wage, £290. Yo, what's going on here in that? Man alive, £10 docked. Haji Sahib, yeah? What's going on here? He goes, you remember that Fajr? You know, my guy was standing there, you didn't turn up. Khalas. I've gone to my room, rang my mum, man, they gave me $290 this week. What's going on here? She goes, good. You deserve your right. My mum never ever backed me in that. My mum's staunch. My mum's principled.
Yeah.
My mum till today rings me to wake me up for Fajr. I ain't embarrassed and shy to say that. She's so firm in her deen, she don't care if I'm an Imam or not an Imam. Oh, she goes, you're an Imam for the dunya. The dunya thinks you're an Imam to me. No, khalas. You know, and this is, I'm getting docked my wage. You know, I'm earning, but it's right.
Yeah.
What did that instill inside me?
You got to be complacent. And
you can't be complacent.
Yeah.
You can't turn up to work complacent. You know, you've got a duty. If you're not fulfilling your duty, you will be held accountable and questionable for that. So, no worries. You know, 3 years went by, and then it's in 2010, in that 3 years, that I'd get invitation here and there to go and do talks in other cities. People had maybe seen, oh, what a speaker, one or two talks they might have heard, never blew up. And then the boom came.
Yeah.
You know, it was like the mother's talk. It was the reality of drugs and alcohol. I delivered that in Halifax. And boom, it was like, this guy's next level, is this, is that. What you guys were basically saying in that. Now I'm 32, I look back and I think, what was I doing?
Why?
Because I've grown up. I've evolved. You have to move with the times.
True.
100%.
You know, back then that was in. You know, I was the guy after Rashi Rash who coined Pataina, Role, Danger, Heartbreaker went violent, not violent, went viral.
It's on TikTok. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I missed that.
They went viral. I got kids on the street, yeah, pulling up. Oh, you're the guy who said Heartbreaker. I said, no, that was Rashi Rash. That was Rash, that was me.
Yeah.
You know, which Imam would do that?
No, 100%.
You know, that's how I try to relate to him.
But that's why we rate you though.
No, but I did that. And now I look back and I think, that's cheesy, man.
Yeah.
Very cringy, bro. I look at that and I think, what am I doing, man?
Yeah, but you have to go through
the
that.
The first time I seen that on TikTok, I'm not even lying. I'm just laying in bed. I'm laying in bed and some texts come up in it, like, Bradford boys when they break up with their girlfriends. And then afterwards you come out, I'm like, yo, what's going on?
You know how old that is? You know, I asked the kids, I go, do you know how old that is? They go, nah, but maybe last year. I said, bro, that's 10 years.
No way.
11 years ago.
That good cameras back.
That's a decade. No, you could see how young I look. My skin was, I got wrinkles now. You probably zoom in and you'll see.
That coat thing, I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, it's
that
the
was
gown.
bigger than you as well, I remember.
I mean, I was skinny, bruv. I got, oversized one. Then the turban, like that, was like, if I came today in the podcast with a turban, everyone knows Imam Asim's doing it.
Yeah.
Some people used to say to me that we only know it's you because either one, you wear the turban and that's yours, or two, voice recognition.
Yeah.
We'd be walking, you'd be behind us and talking, and we'd that's Imam Asim there. Many times that's happened. I'll tell you a funny story. I was in Palestine once. I've been in Palestine 14 times. 14 times. And I went Palestine, and I'm walking through the streets back to Hashmi Hotel, and I'm just, brother, Imam Sahib. I stopped and looked around and says, who is it? And they go, brother, we're from South Africa, and we listen to your talks.
Wow.
And we recognize it's you, Imam Asim, and we just wanted to just give you salam and take a picture with you and that. No problem, khalas, let's do it. And that's just like one example I give you of, how he gets pulled on the streets or gyms. You can just imagine then how it is for someone like me in that sense.
Definitely.
But, then that 3 years, I grew so much, I learned so much. So when you say like having an experience, after 3 years I realized I can't be an imam in a masjid. Like as in work as an imam in a masjid, lead the prayers.
If you want to carry on doing
public speaking, it's going to clash.
You can't make time for it.
And that's what then led to me resigning from Barking Masjid and coming back to Bradford at 22. And I think I passed my driving then as well. So I wasn't even driving at the time. And at 22 I came back, and then I learned so much in those 3 years. But the title then stuck with me. Oh, Imam Asim.
Yeah.
Imam Asim, Imam Asim, Imam Asim. Like Imam's a big title in the sense that there was great Imams in the past. They were called Imams. I'm not worthy of being called an Imam, I'll tell you straight now. I don't. I'm not worthy of that. I'm not an Imam in a masjid per se. I do Jummahs at Al-Hikam. Thereafter, I was doing Jummah in Victoria Park Masjid in Manchester.
Yeah.
I did 3 years there on a Friday, every Friday. This was my career path. If you want to know, like my CV, this is my CV.
I remember that talk you did in, I think it was Milad or something. I came down with Asim, Uzi.
Yeah.
I remember the talk, and one thing that stood out for me from everything genuinely was when you got towards the end of the talk and you mentioned that, look, now, it's good that people are here and we're remembering the Prophet ﷺ, we're celebrating their life, we're talking about their life.
Greatness.
But now when this event finishes, everyone's going to go home. Who's going to stay here to read Fajr? I remember that when you did that in that mosque.
Yeah.
It's off Winslow Road, isn't it?
Yeah, the big mosque.
I remember that talk, we were there.
That was they have the big event every year there, don't they? Yeah.
And I was there in person. And it's not that everything else that was going on I didn't remember it. I do have a good memory, but that stuck with me because you're right. When it comes to events like this,
such gatherings,
we
passionate.
Get ready, we go, but then the stuff that we're supposed to concentrate on first,
we neglect.
Yeah, 100%.
We neglect 100%. I agree with that, and I'm a big advocate of that. Such a gathering. I've had an online debate which hit over 1 million. Million at the time in 2016. It was huge. And I gave a response, and I'm still waiting for a response. Not trying to ignite no debate and that. Just saying, it's been 5 years, I've still not got a response to that talk.
Eminem and Machine Gun.
Yeah, bad you. But no, West Coast versus East Coast, Biggie versus Tupac. Suge Knight versus
P.
Diddy and that.
No, the thing is, like even with our podcast, I'm mentioning to us, whoever we get on, we will always relate to subjects that we understand, our community, the youngsters. Even when it comes to like an Islamic standpoint, We appreciate whoever comes on who's in that field and can bring what the knowledge to the table.
Absolutely, man.
But you know, like obviously when it comes to the intricates, we don't want to.
We don't get into that.
Yeah, there's no reason to.
Absolutely, you're not in that position. Like that's not your place per se. If you know what I mean.
The thing is, the reason why I don't want to do that is because the youngsters in this day and age, look, we've got limited knowledge. But I'm not saying everyone, because it is youngsters who are going out, they're studying.
They build their affiliations and stuff.
But there's a lot of youngsters out there now who are so misguided in so many ways. Not just because of the home education, home life. It's what's happening in education in schools. And we want to keep it where it's light-hearted.
Absolutely.
Got a bit of comedy in there. There's a lot of information that people can look at while they're listening or watching the podcast. And we want to keep it at that because in that way it's keeping the audience level. And it's not that
your target audience isn't. This is not a religious podcast. That's not your target audience. Your target audience is your crowd. Your audience that follows you and others out there.
There's people
who want to hear and see this and.
But at the same time, we're trying to inspire and make the
good message, positive,
positive, and just show people like, look, you don't have to go down the life of doing drugs and being a gangster and doing all this stuff. There's other ways to make money, live your life, enjoy things like you said about the story with the frog. Everybody in Bradford is living in that well. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people.
We are. Honestly, they've not been out. They've not seen.
They need to go see the world.
Wallahi, they've not seen, man. They've not seen.
Mashallah, I've travelled with a bit more cultured. These guys are living in a bubble, man.
I went to Mirpur this first ever time now. I went to Pakistan after 10 years. I went to Mirpur, and you know when you mentioned your village, the reason I'm laughing is because I clearly remember there's a hotel called Rupial. So I've gone past there on the right hand side, gone straight down. Randomly, I've seen a barber shop. I've stopped there, got trim shim, got no hair, but he sorted it out anyway. So I've took a left, gone through these big mansions, and I've ended up on this big road where there's a bridge, and you can see kind of dried up water. Now, I know sat-nav, nothing. I'm freestyling it. I'm driving, and I'm going to my
potholes everywhere.
I'm like, I don't know where to go. So a big sign comes up in front of me, either go straight or turn right. I go to my cousin, what does it say on the sign? It goes Karak. I straight walked to right. I'm there filming it on my Snapchat. I'm like, yo, I'll check where I am. I didn't mention where I was. Fish messaged me straight away. He goes, what are you doing in my village? I didn't even know this is your village. I seen it from the sign and my cousin told me. But like when I went to Mirpur, for me it was an eye-opener because it's like when you go to Attak, it is Pakistan, but we have our own way of doing things. When I went to Mirpur, not saying that there's anything wrong with it, but I loved it because when I was going around, the beauty of the place, one thing, like Attak is a beautiful place, but it's more like when it's not
as scenic.
And when I went to Kashmir, it blew me away. Not just the scenery, the people, how welcoming they were. And one thing is that it's not I'm putting my own place down, but if you've got something nice, people will not let you have it. Like I've seen people, there's an area called Kamra in Attak. A guy literally parked his Toyota Corolla 2D there, went in the shop 10 minutes later, come out, the car's gone.
That's how it is, man. That's how it is, man.
So wherever I
Where are you from, Pakistan? Jhelum.
He's a coconut though.
Yeah, I'm really bad.
He can't speak.
He must be white inside.
I'm white on the outside now.
Wait, don't raise the jokes, lads.
No, but another thing as well is like coming on here, speaking to people like yourself. He's like a mangy, this guy. So I'm learning so much from him. Good. And I want to be more in touch with that side.
Absolutely, man. Why not?
Hopefully, inshallah, we were planning.
I'm happy you called me that. You know why? Because one thing, alhamdulillah, no, genuinely,
our roots.
Look, Islam is the first and foremost before anything.
Absolutely.
Even when you've got Islam, our Prophet ﷺ's time, they had tribes to recognize people.
Absolutely.
Where I'm from, I'm proud of where I'm from, but that pride is not to say I'm better than anyone. It's just where I go, I like it. But when I went to Pakistan this time, I traveled a lot. It was food related. But I went to Karachi, I went Hunza Valley. Now Hunza Valley was a totally different experience, and the reason was because them people, they're from the mountains, but like Kashmir is a mountainous area. Hunza Valley was totally different. The way they eat their food is not like Uzla. It's so clean. Maybe that's why they obviously life and death it comes from Allah. But them kind of people,
lifestyles, diets,
the way they eat the food is so bland, but they're used to that and they are very healthy people. It's like
strong.
I went up to a fort called Baltit Fort. Now, if you Google it, from sea level, it's really high. I could feel it in my lungs. They were
I remember you made the video and you had the breakfast there.
Yeah. And I was panting, but I felt it that it's working me. And when we were going around there, even though it was still classed as Pakistan, it was closer to the Chinese border. And them people, their lifestyle was so clean. I was like, yo, this is next level. You had elderly, Qasam say I'm not even 90, you had people who would probably be like 70, 80, 90. Mans are carrying rucksacks up the mountain. I'm not like he's saying, but genuinely, and I'm like, yo, I'm here, I'm a young lad, I'm not that old, and I'm panting and breathing out my backside.
Ask him, I carried this camera up the stairs and I'm dying.
That's not a lot.
But our roots, you need to be in touch with them, and the reason I went to Pakistan was not just because of the food. I wanted to show the younger generation that look, when our elders were around, we had that family unity, not just our weddings and funerals, because now in this day and age, unfortunately, the sad reality is that a lot of people only come together when there's either
we said, well, I'll see you at the next wedding now. I'll see you at the next funeral. That's the only time we've got time for people now. Otherwise, it's just social interaction, social media interaction, if that. But there's a lot, it's so much, man. I mean, Pakistan's beautiful. I've been a few times now. It's next level. It is next level, and just alhamdulillah, it's great. We should go. We should travel, and coming back to that point, I think that's that side of me just traveling so much, and I've not even you've not even asked, or I've not even mentioned the countries that I've visited. I've been to as a speaker. We're talking 6-7 times Canada, 6 times South Africa, Malawi, Mauritius, Trinidad and Tobago, 14 times Palestine, 6-7 times Umrah, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Turkey, European countries as well, been to Holland. Some of those obviously have been holiday, but most of them have been for talks. America 3 times.
Your sky miles must be higher.
I used to work it out. Sometimes, there was years where I probably did 3 months out of the 12 just traveling.
Wow.
Just traveling, and I did a lot of traveling. But honestly, I always say to my boys, I'm 32, and probably Allah give us life and take good work from us and choose us for good work as well. You could write a book on my life.
So what's
the good, the bad, wallah, there's that long. So much we can talk about and say, bro. It's unbelievable.
No,
unbelievable. I think
good insight. You've given us
good
my
insight. Body's died on me.
Do you need to charge it?
Half eight.
No, half eight. Look at that.
I think we should just touch up on
couple more things.
Yeah,
we could do a part 2 next time whenever you want. Just
of course.
carry on whatever.
Honestly.
One thing that I wanted to highlight and was very important is the misuse of not just drugs, but smart whips.
Yeah. It's a big problem.
I have people contacting me on Snapchat. Can you promote it? And I've told them, look, I will promote certain things, but this I don't agree with. And there's a variety of reasons. The cream charges, they're used in the restaurant industry where they use that to make
cream. Whip up the
cream in the machines. Now, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but a couple of people who I've spoke to who have maybe tried it said that it kind of cuts off the circulation to your brain, I think.
So basically, have you ever been to the hospital and they give you it's NO2,
the
nitrous oxide?
Yeah.
So
but
it's
that's
laughing
different
gas.
though, isn't it?
Of course, that's medically kind of administered.
Yeah.
This stuff is just used for whipping up cream.
Yeah.
So when people are doing this, they don't know how it's going to affect them. It's not even supposed to be used in that sort of
Well, there's been many a case where it's cut off that link to the nervous system, whatever. People have been paralyzed, pneumonia, hospitalized.
Wow.
Obviously, I'm not saying after the first time you do it it's going to happen, but when you become addicted to something to that level, then this is the result of that addiction. Now, it's not illegal, an illegal substance to take, and the police, they've not even dealing it. If you're caught, it is illegal. But even then, it's not. Now they're saying in government they're going to discuss putting on the substance and the dealing to that level is going to become illegal. Now it's a lot of white people would use it in the festivals, and what do you call it, Glastonbury and all these big festivals they do, that it was a recreational drug that they used then. There's many articles, just type it up, you'll on Google, you'll see an article after an article in the Telegraph and others where they've spoken about the harms and dangers of this and the misuse of this and what's the impact it's had and stuff. The thing is, how we relate that to our times is it's everywhere here now. You just got to go outside certain shisha lounges, shisha places, and you've got to look at, you know, the little gas canisters and, you know, the big smart weight bottles, and, you know, there's lads out there who are dealing these things. There's girls who just regularly are using it, guys who are using it, and it's just a cheap thrill and high. You know, it probably lasts them 2-3 minutes if that, and then they just keep doing it just to get, and before you know it, they ballooned, literally. Like, you know, the heads are mashed, and it's the same religious, Islamically, the same ruling as weed, cocaine, heroin would be applied to it, because of the impact it has and what the, you know, the result of that is. And it's sad. It's sad. So many young people are doing it. I did a talk. I think it was only about 4 months ago, maybe in October. I can't remember. Late last year, I did a talk on this, and we had a great turnout, and it was uploaded onto YouTube as well. And, you know, brothers listened to it. And again, you know, it's a relevant topic, and it needs to be discussed, but not just. And I'm just going to slightly tangent here and go off. Not just by me. Everyone within our schools, within our madrasas, within our institutes needs to speak about this, brother. Because it's a danger. You know, kids are going out there doing it, coming back, and you wouldn't even know any different. What are the symptoms of it? Yeah, you might lose a bit of weight through it or whatever, but it's not like, you know, hardcore drugs. When I say hardcore, I mean cocaine, heroin. Your eyes are, you know, wide open. Or, you know, you get hunger. You know, what do you call that? Munch straight after. You know, when you get high of weed and whatnot, and your bloodshot red eyes and munchies and that, and, you know, it's none of that. You know, you couldn't even probably presume that this guy's on balloons. It don't have those sort of obvious symptoms. But it's real. It's out there. It's happening, and it's so common now amongst teenagers. It's these young teenagers that are doing it. It's the in thing for them. They think it's cool. They think it's, you know, it's this image thing that they've got, and you're just daft. It's daft. It's stupid. It's not worth it. Don't risk it. Don't do it. Look, your life means more. You know, and just because it hasn't come to you yet doesn't mean it's not going to come to you yet. Very easily, very quickly, it can turn horrible and nasty. So you know what? Just avoid it. Leave it completely. And if you have any ounce of religion inside you and faith inside you and belief, then the fatwa itself would be enough. And muftis, and I said this last time as well in the talk, we need the muftis, the legal jurists in our deen, in our religion, the qualified people. I'm not a mufti, but muftis to pass a fatwa on this. You know, they need to. It's relevant, and that fatwa then needs to be shared. That this is the ruling for the one who consumes or takes, nitrous oxide, takes balloons. This is what it is. And people need to understand that straight away. It's dangerous, man. It's dangerous. It's next level. But I don't know, man. I think people are too busy fighting over the moon and sighting of the moon and this, that, and the other, brother. They don't.
The thing is, I think, like, look, we're not from that kind of standpoint because, like you said, we only have what we have. We're normal. But when these issues we face them, I think the community normally in the past they've come together on so many different topics and worked things out to move forward. But now, like you said, there's so many things going on. People look at the smaller thing rather than the bigger issue.
Absolutely.
And if we all came together collectively, we could make a big difference.
We could, and we do need to come collectively, but I think everyone's affiliated to their own circles, to their own lifestyles. Those who go gym have their gym crews. Those who eat, no pun intended, have their food crews and eating crews. Those who are in the religious circles have their own religious circles within the religious circles. Those who are into the football, they've got their football crews. Everyone's got. The world is the way the world is now, it's everyone is affiliated. You've got the iPhone gang, you've got the Samsung gang, you've got the Adidas gang, you've got the Nike gang, you've got, the Air Jordans gang, you've got the Valentino gang, you've got the Rolex gang, you've got the PP gang, you've got the AP gang.
The Rolex.
The Rolex and that, yeah. He grew up with us as well, innit?
Yes.
Kas Khan. Wakas and that.
Yeah. Vicky. Kas Khan.
Yeah, I know really well, man. People don't know, man. We grew up, yes or no?
Yeah.
I'm a black guy, I'm serious, innit? I think me and Vicky were in the same class.
No way.
Yeah. So I need to have a word with him though. I'll sort him out later.
I'm not the only one who grew up with him. Imam.
No, I don't want to go viral for that. Please edit this.
So,
no. So, I'm just saying that it's like there's so much out there, man. Everyone, and I think we've just become more and more diversified. We've become more not diversified, like we're more and more divided.
Yeah.
It's just divided us even more to like I've got mine and this.
You said, people are too busy wasting their energy on things that don't matter but are not important, and then just neglecting all the bad things that happen in Bradford. For example, like moon sightings on what day, Eid's on, like it's not something to completely forget.
It does matter, but
of course it matters, but there's more important things that's
like once, twice a year. The thing is that internal and daily affairs that affect us, they're getting neglected because we're saying, this guy dresses like this, they read like that. These things matter. We can't say they don't. They do matter. Of course they matter. But the thing is that the current issues that we ourselves.
What are our day-to-day issues that need to be challenged, discussed? That's what we're not really looking at as much. We all throw tangent when my one set of friends are doing it on a Friday Eid and the other one's doing it on a Thursday. We all have an opinion on that, even though we don't know the background and schematics behind it all.
100%.
We make it an issue to be a cause of division, and I've got a view on that, and I've got a solution to that as well, which I openly mention, irrespective of your religious affiliation and background. In this country, we should not be divided when it comes to moon sighting. We should all be on one page. How can we see two different moons in this country? Some have either we all go Morocco, either we all go Saudi Arabia, we all stick to the moon sighting of this country. But we can't, because there's agendas within all that. And I'll be open in that and saying that there's agendas. People have certain agendas within all that.
He's right.
But it's an issue that can be resolved. I'm not saying those in America should have Eid with us. No, they can be different because they're in a different time zone. Those in Saudi Arabia, they can be different. Pakistan can be different. How can we be different? We're in one time zone in one country at the same time.
BD3's got one and BD8's got
one. And that's a problem. And it is, we've got to rise above the differences that we may have on other issues, important albeit, but on this issue, when it comes to moon sighting, which is an issue of jurisprudence, fiqh, listen, we should all come to the table and agree. Are we all going to go with Morocco? Are we all going to go with Saudi Arabia? Or are we all going to stick to the local moon sighting?
I remember once Nigeria even came into the park.
Yeah, Nigeria, South Africa, because they're within the time zones and this. But I just don't get it, and that's just another discussion. We'll probably have a podcast on that. Next time, moon sighting podcast, let me know. I'll give you my view.
So we'll look it off there.
Thank you very much for coming down. I know it's been a bit freestyle. Thank you for coming down.
No problem, man. No problem. Allah reward you, man. Like I said, there's too much, man.
To talk about.
We would love to have you back on.
It'd be nice, and I wish you all the success in your podcast. I think you lads are relevant. I think a lot of young people will relate to you. Thank you for giving me a platform to speak on. It's nice sometimes to come on others' platform and just talk. Rather than sitting on my own platform. Let's talk with Imam. I've got a podcast which I was doing and which was quite I'll be brutally honest, and I will get used to on foodies. We can sit and talk about food on there and your journeys and what have you, but it's something that I do need to get back onto with. But there's so much other work happening. I'll throw it in the Faith Cave. youth centre we've set up here in Bradford. Ingleby Road. I'm heavily involved in that and in the setup of it and everything. But just creating a safe space for our youth, our children, those who study within madrasas and who don't, to come and just enjoy themselves, relax. There's pool tables, table tennis, PS5s. We've got a great setup there, and it's for the youth to come and enjoy themselves. We're open on weekends, even during the week. You can book it as well for parties, birthday parties or graduation parties and stuff like that as well. Got classrooms, we've got a canteen. We might have to get you in to check the food out there. If there's anyone in there to cook it for you. Or we can just cook it ourselves. We can spruce something up, we can do a munchbox special.
I remember when I came to the opening, I think Chai Pani or some...
Yeah, CP lot, Abid and the guys, they helped us out. And we had burgers and stuff on. We didn't get a rating or a review then, but for another day. And then obviously we've got Al-Hikam, we've got the masjid, we've got the madrasa. It's busy, Jummahs are packed. The madrasas, mashallah, going well in the right direction. And that's our daily work. That's what we do, for a living. That's what we train for, to impart knowledge and education to our children, the youth, the next generation. And then aside from that, just some personal interest. Obviously, Hot Rock Cafe, I share it a lot.
Is it open yet? Or?
It is open.
Yeah.
It's a bit slow and steady. It's my mate's place. It's my friend's place.
Have to come and put it in
but I think we need you to come and put it on the map so people know. It's similar. I'll be honest. It's similar to the Mughals on the Rock concept in Keighley.
I love that.
I think we'll know you'll love this as well. And you're a foodie, and I know you like your food and stuff. But it's a unique steak concept. You know that yourself.
Bradford is missing that.
Is it open now?
It is actually open now, yeah.
We'll go after this.
If you want, we'll go down together, all three of us, four of us. Can't leave you out, even though you're sat there. We'll go down, and genuinely, it's a nice place. And my friend, he's a very close friend, and he goes, look, give us a hand helping set up and stuff. And we've just got 2-3 things that need to go in before we make a nice promo video for it. A sign to go up. We're looking for a specific sign, albeit metal. Because of the ambience and the place and the way we want to do it. We've just got a certain way he wants to do it, a vision and how to do it, and that's important.
Of course it is.
So that's something there as well. And aside from that, talks, going abroad, Palestine, taking groups there, taking group to Umrah. I've got students who manage and run all that stuff, and I just tag along with them and take as many people to, keep the importance of raising awareness about the Holy Land, Masjid al-Aqsa. I could do a podcast on that. Believe you me when I say you could write a book on my life and the story. There's so much in different, because we can share a view on everything that we've 100%. Experienced and done. And so these are some of the stuff and things, and then there's football as well. Left foot. I'm not that good. There's so much better players out there, and mashallah, I was at Fairbank United Football Club. I've actually left them.
Right. Okay.
I was there nearly the best part of 10 years. Wow. With Shaz and the guys. They've done great work for the community. A lot of young kids are going through the system there, playing football, and big shout and credit to them for the work they're doing. But I've moved to another project within the community, which I feel is even more important, and that's Route 1 Rovers. Okay. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to take this. It's the best Asian team in amateur football.
Right.
It plays step 7 football. So in the football pyramid, you've got 7, 8, 9 steps or whatever it may be. There's step 7, which is amateur. Step 6 is semi-professional. So right now, in step 7, in the Yorkshire Amateur League, which they're in the highest division, which is the Supreme Division, and they're on top of the table. And they're unbeaten this season. Wow. Last year they won the treble.
Arsenal invincible.
No, you're Arsenal, aren't you? No, yeah. I used to be. Remember Henry? I left him then.
He jumped ship. You spoke Man City.
Yeah, I'm Man City. I'm not. People say, "Oh, you're a glory fan." This, that. I probably am, but it's not about glory. It is. I don't want to get sucked up into this hardcore, destructive affiliation to a football team. Like, I'm hardcore Man United and I hate Liverpool and I hate Arsenal. I couldn't care less. I watch Man City. I enjoy Pep Guardiola's philosophy on football. Wherever he's gone, I followed. I think I'm not bothered now. I could not care less now that Messi's won the World Cup.
Yeah, I was just gonna.
I saw that.
You seen it?
You posted it.
That's probably the
caption that you did.
Your brother.
Man alive, that's the first one I did as an imam on football. That bad. Certainly the last one as well. I said football's complete now. I don't need to watch football. I'm not interested. But he's the greatest footballer ever. And just what being. From a football perspective, to be around to watch that guy play ball, I've watched him live 3-4 times as well, and he's just unbelievable. That guy was, created. Allah gave him the gift of kicking the ball. If it's a gift, he's good, man, and I appreciate. So we got to value gifts people have, and he's got a gift there. Allah guide him to Islam. Sheikh Saeed Al-Kamali, he's a great scholar in Morocco, very inspired, and listen to his, snippets and lectures in Arabic he does, and in his lectures, he's relevant as well. Yeah. He mentioned Messi and Ronaldo, and I'm talking one of the great scholars in the world at this moment in time. Not like me, who's just, this, funky Imam or whatever you want to term it or whatever you want to say, right? This is a proper man of Allah and that. And he says, you all look up to Ronaldo, Messi, and then he goes, may Allah guide him. May Allah bring him to Islam. That's what we should do, make dua for those who don't believe, that Allah bring them towards this way. So just saying that football-wise, and now that Messi, I couldn't care less now. Who wins, who doesn't win, what's going on. I do keep an interest. I've got a fantasy Premier League team. I'm third in the table in Doofus and that. League and that. But see, this is how I can relate to you, because I see these things. I've got friends who are young, and we talk about these things. But Route 1, we're trying to go semi-pro. There's actually an article that just come out. And you don't even follow me on Instagram. Thanks, Munchbox. Wallah, you don't follow me. You're too big. You don't care about me, bro.
No.
See, you ain't got no time for me, man.
I'm sure I follow.
Wallah, you don't follow me. You probably follow some fake dodgy one that they've made. My haters have made something. You don't?
Is it 4,000 followers?
26,000 G. 4,000. No, that's one. That's a backup one.
See, so I'm following the wrong account then, innit? That's not my fault. 1 minute.
Imam Asim H.
Yeah. Now I'm following you. I was following the
Forget the backup account, man. The main one.
Yeah, no, I'm following
He's lying. You're not even following it.
He wasn't even.
No,
I know he's not following me.
No, look, it's not that.
Yeah, look,
I do follow you.
No, I know you follow me, but like it's not officially following.
When you came on,
I'm not bothered.
Do you remember when you came on the TikTok?
Yeah.
Doing your lives, I came in and I remember you made me a moderator, and I'm like shit, because the thing is, got like over 1,000 people there, and when someone makes you a mod, it's like you
have to attentively watch.
So I'm there blocking people. I came on once or twice, and then after that, obviously
no, we need to go live. Yesterday you came on live, and some of the boys there was one lad who was here.
We go live now for 5-10 minutes.
He was on TikTok, right? And obviously I think I've got 66,000 on TikTok.
Yeah.
So it's growing. Mine's more obviously religious.
I'll just do this now. You guys carry on.
Do what?
We just find a live cup shop and then we
okay, so I carry on talking, yeah?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so the TikTok, and he was... No, thank you, I'm done. Make sure you don't waste that.
No.
You have to eat it. Hungry ass. So, so I was saying that in terms of like the podcast, on TikTok and, what was I on about?
He was on about I wasn't following you. And then
you were not following, but yeah, so, no, it wasn't. Before that, it was a point before.
He was on about 66,000 followers on TikTok.
No, forget that, man.
Moderators.
No, moderators before that. So what happens when you talk a lot?
Before moderators, what about Instagram? He follows you on Instagram.
26,000 and...
No. So Route 1.
Oh, yes.
He was on about the football and that. And then,
I didn't read
the article. Yes, that's it. We're back on track. Chain of thought, we lost it there for a moment. So the article, I just put an article up on my Instagram,
right,
that, the TNA have just done a little article on the football club, Route 1, going semi-pro.
Okay.
So do dua that we win the league.
Inshallah.
We put the application in,
Yeah.
and now we want to go semi-pro. So we're trying to grow the social media profile. And I'll be brutally honest with you, we've got the best crop of Asian footballers in Yorkshire playing there. And some top footballers playing in this team. And if this goes semi-pro, this is massive B.
It's a big thing. It's a
big thing for an Asian, majority, predominantly subcontinent Pakistani team.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got, mashallah, some black brothers in there, Simi and Jono and these guys.
Does Adam still play? You know Adam?
Jones, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, Jones is...
No, he's old now.
No, he's old. No. But he was a top footballer.
Yeah, I remember he played...
Hothead.
Yeah.
Violent.
Yeah, he's a good guy though.
Top guy, yeah. Jones is a good lad in that. But in terms of like football-wise, so Route 1, I've joined them.
Yeah.
So they've got a reserve team. I play for the reserve team, which is one division below their division. I was getting too many injuries now though, man. Yeah, growing injury and knee injuries and then Sundays we've got a Sunday league team as well, Bullroyd. So that's just a laugh and a joke. They just the roids and that.
Just toe poking, eh?
No toe pokers, man. They just fight. They couldn't lay anything. They got nothing better to do. They just kick off with someone. I ain't gonna mention no names on that.
Stressing out from
Bro, they left too many. I think their wives give them a hard time. They take it on the pitch.
Do you know Jerry?
Jerry, yeah, so he's got Manningham All-Stars.
So I remember once,
Jerry's the guy, bro.
Listen, legend, because they were playing a game on Green Lane Field. So I've never really been... I've been to proper football, man. I've never been to like a Sunday league game.
Oh, they must have kicked off.
He's there, yeah. These guys come on, like, slide tackled him, like, and it wasn't one like them clean ones. It was a dirty
2
one.
foot dirty, yeah.
Break your legs, ankles, one of them ones. Listen, he's got up, squared up to, and this guy was massive. He goes to him straight, listen, I'll show you after the game. That guy's you just look there like, yo, because when you go to a football match, you see stuff and you do see the arguments because it's on such a big stage. They're kind of a little bit more professional about it. They know cameras are on them. When you go Sunday league, there's no
holds bad. No holds bad. It's Royal Rumble. Even Royal Rumble last night, the night before. Not that I watch it anymore.
I kind of watched it. This guy told me about it. I haven't seen it for years.
Yeah, I remember
Cody Rhodes one year. It's like wrestling's not wrestling anymore.
No,
it's fake. I know it's
it was
fake.
always fake, but you know what? There was an element of like we believed it for a moment that it was
Rock
real.
and Undertaker,
Stone Cold.
The days when you hear that glass shot, you're like, yeah, shit's about to go down.
316, mate. Landing. But so football-wise, I play a lot of football. Still active in that. I'm 32, so I just want to go on for a few more years at least to keep playing. But you've got to get fit, and I'm to be honest.
Yoga, because Giggsy did a lot of yoga towards the end of his career.
Giggsy did a lot of things. He loved that, didn't he? Giggsy was a top footballer though.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Man United legend.
He was a legend of Manchester football-wise, yeah.
Pick up football.
No, it's alright. We'll carry on.
He just knows about food. That's it. And
Chilies and macaroni and that.
Yeah.
What are you into?
MMA, boxing, swimming.
Islam Makachev.
He follows Tom Daly in it.
Oh no!
I met Tom Daly.
That's even worse. Oh no! But anyways, just in terms of like. So football, and that's it. These are the things I just crack on with now. And alhamdulillah, it's good. It's good football. You know, do dua with the Route 1. We're trying to go semi-pro. If we go semi-pro,
that is
I think we're gonna need to get you on for our media thing, man.
Get a costume, make him a mascot.
what our aim is, Munchbox, in simple Amr is this: is that if we can go semi-pro, we create an academy. That the young kids who don't have a journey into semi-professional stroke professional football. We are going to create and pave that path for them.
It's a big thing.
Because it's hard for Asians to get into that game.
For me personally,
who's made it through? Which British Pakistani?
Zesh Raymond, that's it.
Even Zesh Raymond.
But he didn't get to the top end.
Bradford City, he got to Fulham. Even Zesh Raymond, there was an element of I'm saying who's made it to Premier League? Who's become the Amir Khan of football?
You've got
in all honesty,
but I think
Zidane's mixed race.
Yeah.
So there's Iraq in him and there's Pakistan in him as well, which fantastic. We support that. But the homegrown, someone from Mirpur, a Turk,
from Karen,
I think that chance went. I think at 16 he went to Jamil Karim. The very drop bit there, but I'm only messing. No, there might be. You never know, man. You know, there's kids out there who are good footballers, but they just don't have a chance. And
Usman, do you remember Usman?
Usi, yeah, right, Abirod Usman, my boy in that man, Silver Fox, my G. Shout out to Usman. Don't forget you, V. Usman was a top footballer.
He played for
Pakistan. He went to the under 23s, and
I remember that. And there's another guy called Murphy.
Irfan. Yeah, these are my boys, man. We grew up with them. I still play with Usman, you know.
I'm not into football like when I was younger.
Our Bradford urban street football, yeah.
But it was big, man, and
massive. These boys were like the bastions, man. We are in many ways, and we need to, like, mashallah, the Sikh community, they've had breakouts. You know, the Bangladeshi community, Hamza Chowdhury is Bangladeshi and Jamaican. So they've had a breakout. But I'm talking, and he's Premier League.
Yeah.
Hamza Chowdhury played for Leicester City.
Yeah.
I think he's had a transfer now and moved. But, you know, we've not had that. So we want to create with Route 1
that environment, the platform to allow.
Yeah, so you know, Sammy, the chairman, and these guys, they've done it. Say that again?
No, I'm just trying to do that.
He's got his own boys coming in.
You got 101.
Yes, big up to the 101 people showing
101 and that.
Yeah.
But so that's what it is. So do dua. There's a lot of projects we're involved in, sports related, community related, religiously related. In many ways, we're doing a lot of things. But do dua, Allah puts success in it, keeps us firm, our intentions clean. And likewise, whenever you need my support, we're here for you, any way, shape or form. You know, my G.
Likewise.
And you know,
to finish it off before we lock it off, is there any one message that you want to give to our audience, the youngsters? That obviously you've done many talks, and you are known and well respected for public speaking and engaging with the youngsters.
Yeah.
Is there one message in particular that you'd like to send out to the youngsters before we finish off?
I think the most important thing is that there's too many. Like, there's so many that you can mention just individually, specifically related, but in general, just be a good person.
Yeah,
that's it. Be good, and good will come to you.
100%.
Don't have bad intentions. Don't have bad feelings. You know, cleanse and rid your heart of, you know, badness, negativity. And goodness will only come from Islam, will only come from Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And if you can adopt and take that, be, you know, beacons of goodness, carriers of goodness, and just that goodness is, we just there's not enough of it. There's not enough of it out there. And if you can be good to someone, you know, and put a smile on someone and make them happy, then you do that. And that's the most important. And that's just a general message. I can get, you know, quite specific, but generally, goodness, you know. Hal jaza'ul ihsani illa al-ihsan. You know, what's the reward of goodness except goodness? And ahsinu. Allah in the Quran says, be good. Inna Allah yuhibbul muhsinin. Allah loves those who do good. This goodness is the key, you know, and that's goodness in speech, goodness in thought, goodness in action. And, you know, in every way, shape and form, if you can morph that together, you become a good person, then the good will go to Jannah. So just goodness, man. I think that's the most.
We're gonna lock it off there. Thank you for coming down. We appreciate it. I know we've gone a little bit over schedule.
But well over me. 2-hour podcast, man.
But like I said, 2 hours.
Yeah.
I think we've hit 3.
Yeah.
But it's gone like this.
Yeah.
I know. Yes, I'm sorry, man.
No.
No, I apologize. I talk too much, man. I ramble on. There's so much, but.
You know, not just ourselves, I can guarantee you now when we edit this and put it up, that many people are going to watch it, not just because of ourselves and yourself, it's that the topics that we're discussing, we don't want it to be full on, we just want it to be relaxed, get a bit of important topics in, and for the youngsters to be able to enjoy it. It's like you said, the youth club that you've got, it's a safe space. We want our platform to be like that, where they can come, they can watch it, and they know, we'll get a bit of laugh and comedy from it, but we'll maybe learn something as well. I'm sat here, I'm learning from you, because I'm normal.
No. And that's what you said when you rang me, and you said, look, this is our aim. You know, if you did anything without an aim, then it's never going to have, you've got to have objectives.
100%.
So, and you told me your objective was what you just said. And I think we've sort of touched on that. And it's, I'm glad it's nice to be here, nice to talk, and,
thank you.
You know, we do it again.
Inshallah. Definitely.
Come on my podcast,
No,
if I can
anytime.
get it going.
You got the full equipment for this, mashallah.
No, yours. Believe me, you got the equipment. Believe.
Half of this is us, half of his bro.
Mine is all mine, but problem is, I'm just so lazy and slack, man. I need to get onto that. It's one of the to do on the list.
Anyways, guys, thank you very much.
Jazakallah khair, thank you very much. Allah reward you and see you soon.
Thank you. Guys, thank you for watching. If you're not following us, do hit that subscribe button. It will help us. It goes a long way. Anyways, I'm going to lock it off here. Thank you very much for watching.
Sorted.